How's it going, family? Just doing a quick mic check. Let me know if you can hear me well. Want to make sure the audio is all good before we kick things off. Get confirmation from a couple of you, and then we will kick things off. Beautiful. All right, everyone's saying sound is good. Well, appreciate you all showing up. I'm really excited to do this. It's the first live stream we've done for a red pill in quite a while. I don't remember when the last one was, but it was likely a what I'm investing in special. So that's what we're doing today. It will be number 8. My goodness, I can't believe number 8. This has been an ongoing series, and really, really excited to see what these markets are up to. I haven't been spending too much time in the charts over the past 48 hours because I've had a lot of other things going on. So I'll have a fresh set of eyes for this one, and that's always the best to do it. No bias, no emotions, just keeping everything in check and alignment and making sure we're not getting emotional. It's probably the most important piece. So let me just quickly bring up these charts. All right. Full screen. And I hope you guys could see everything that's going on here. Also, this is my first time doing a live stream on it's my first time doing a live stream on StreamYard for these podcasts. So please bear with me because this is actually quite a not user-friendly thing to bounce between the TradingView charts and some of the decoding stuff, but I'll figure it out. And then if it doesn't work so smoothly, the next time I'll just do it full screen record like I typically do. But I've been really enjoying StreamYard. It's been working nicely, and I get to see your guys' chat and everything. Now, before we move on, please just let me know that you can also see my chart. Because if you can hear me and if you can see my chart, then I know all systems are operational and I could kick things off. Great. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. That's good. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. And then just a little reminder, because some of you might just be joining in right now. I do kindly ask to just be respectful of our community and do not spam the live chat. Effectively, I will be going through a little bit of a presentation right now, and then I'll open up the end to answer any live chat questions, any frequently asked questions. I have Clementine hanging out with us, as well as um, got a couple of mods. I got Matt hanging out with us. Much love, Matt. Much love, Clementine. Also, we got Mr. Jansen. I'm not sure if he's still in the chat right now. And then Lolo Blondo. So we got a couple moderators here helping us out. Really appreciate all the help. For the most part, of course, just keep it friendly, have fun. Obviously, people are coming here because they want to learn. They want to get educated on what these markets are doing. And I could tell that the market's getting a little spicy right now. XRP is about $2 for the first time in so long. So just, hold your horses or whatever they say. Try to keep the chat nice and open. And then again, when we get to the end, I'll start to go through some questions. So feel free, if you have something on the top of your mind, excuse me, write it in all caps. And those are the questions that I'll eventually answer. So keep it in all caps. That way I and the moderators know. It's something that you're interested in knowing more about. It's something that I could cover a little bit later. Also, since this week we are doing the What I'm Investing in special, that means that when this is posted over on Patreon, which I believe I will repost this again, likely in whatever 2 or 3 hours. In the comments section of that repost, I would really appreciate if you voted on whatever altcoins we'll cover next week. And what I'll probably do is whatever last week's submissions were for this podcast, I'll do like a 50-50 split. So I'll pick like 2 from last week and 2 or 3 from this upcoming week, make it nice and fair, and I'll go over those projects, do the typical 4 to 5 different altcoins that we usually do. Trying to think of what else is on my mind. Oh, also, make sure if you are new here to the Wolfpack that and you probably need to hear this now more than ever. You do not accept a friend request from someone who has the name Waters Above. They will be a scammer pretending to be me. I do not send any friend requests within Discord. This is very, very important, guys, because there's a lot of new people joining our community, and there's also a lot of new people joining the crypto space. And these scammers are likely not even real people. They're probably just AI bots that are connected to some whatever. I don't even know how the system works. These people are soulless mosquitoes, and there's nothing that I could do about it. So with the help of a couple people in our server, I have, thanks to Dustin, I'm not sure what name he's going by today, not Tom Cruise or L. Ron Hubbard, whatever he likes to be called. He has gave me a little bit of a pro tip. So I've implemented a new bot inside of the Discord as of today. It will prevent this scammer from being able to DM people. I'm really hoping this works. I have Clementine helping me out a little bit as well. We want to sort this out, guys, but please, please, please do not accept any friend requests from somebody who has my username, something close to my username, or my profile picture. That is really important. I want you to report them if it happens and block them. And also, if you're brand new to our community, I'm really sorry and I apologize for this experience if it's happened to you. It's really shitty that this kind of stuff happens, but at the end of the day, that's life. You can't control what other people do with their morals or lack thereof. But I would really appreciate if you have yet to get access to our Discord server, just go ahead and send me a direct message over on Patreon, and I will reply back to you in a Patreon direct message with your Discord username. Discord invite, excuse me, and do not comment below with your Discord username, please. If anything, that might be another way that scammers are able to pull together your information. So I really want to prevent this. Anyways, I got that all out of the way. Let's get into today's podcast. We just had a very important monthly close for Bitcoin, about 37% gain for the month of November. That's massive. So this is incredibly close to the average move based on the Bitcoin seasonality chart that we've been keeping an eye on. That shows about a 40% gain for the month of November. So it really doesn't get more perfect than that. Let me quickly try to pull up that chart so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Again, I wish there was a more user-friendly system, but this is what we're working with. So you'll see Bitcoin seasonality, and for that month of November, things are looking amazing. 40% this time around in 2024. It was about 37%. So it doesn't get more perfect than that. And as you can see, for the month of December, we have an average gain of about 12%. And considering that this data on this particular chart that you're looking at does not include the May through December 2023 data, let's just quickly check in on the December 2023 monthly close. And I would like to show you what that was. So when we're going back to December of last year, if you just look right there when I'm holding my cursor now, you'll see it's 12%. So really incredible that this Bitcoin seasonality chart that I just showed you has been pretty damn accurate. And it's obviously something to keep in mind. It's not every December, every November, always going to be like this. You would want to consider where we're at with the solar cycle or the lunar cycle. And that's another side conversation to get into. But if you're brand new to this work, we're using the esoteric elements here, such as astrology, numerology, and gematria, of course. That's why you've come here, because you want a different take on these markets. So I'm not saying that every single December will be a 12% or every single November will be a 40%. I'm just letting you know that this is something we can utilize to have a little bit of a compass, an exoteric compass to help us out a little bit. And it's been mind-blowing how accurate it's been. Like last October was 28%, and Bitcoin seasonality says for October should be 29%. Then this year it says November should be 40%, and we just had a 37% candle for November. Last December was 12%. Bitcoin seasonality says 12%. Now, what does all this mean and what could we do with this data? Well, I would like to quickly run through a handful of examples with Bitcoin closing off the month of November, trading into the final phase of the bull run, which syncs up with where we're at now. And we're going to just review December 2016. Naturally, I think that's a good example. And if you look right over here, when I hover my cursor now, you're going to see 30.7%. So let's just say 30%. Then you can see the parabolic phase of the bull run initiated. Let me close this. And then when we get over to December 2020, this was our last cycle. We were effectively breaking out into price discovery at this time. And you'll see hovering right here, 47%. Wild. 47% gain. Now, I want you to look at what happened last year, excuse me. We have about a 12% move. So we're working with very limited data, right? But if Bitcoin were to close off the year at a 12% gain from where we're trading at right now, from where this monthly close came in, 12% is putting us around 109K. And that would be on the lower end of the data, but that's what Bitcoin typically has been able to accomplish when looking at data all the way back to, I believe it was 2010. Yeah. So now that would be the lower end of the range. If you take all of the Decembers from 2010 till 2022, and then you add them all up, it's giving you about 12%. So I am confident that we will be holding above 100K into our yearly close. And this should not be news to anyone. Even over on my Instagram, I've started to share some little clips, and I have a clip from a video back in September where I talk about the significance of November 15th and how we should be approaching at that time a price target of around 100K. And we finished off the month of November at 97. We almost hit 100K during the month of November, and that moment happened after November 15th. It had to do with Saturn retrograde, the end of the Saturn retrograde phase. So again, if you're brand new here, this might be, like a whole new language to you, but hang in there. I'll do my best to simplify stuff. Needless to say, that's what we're doing now. I'm just taking basic percentages and I'm showing you if we were to get about a 12% move off this recent monthly close, that'd be seating us somewhere right below 110K. And that would be, that's plausible. Now, let's consider the other two examples. We have on the lower end of the two examples, excluding last year, we have about 125K-ish if we are to accomplish what happened back in like 2016, December example. And then we have on the higher end last cycle, December 2020, 47% puts us around 144,000. Let's just say almost 150K. We can simplify all this jargon by saying around 130 to 150K. Now, this kind of brings us back to something that we've been examining recently. Oh, I just got a notification on my phone for $2. I'm sorry if this is going to keep beeping. I need to shut it off. But like, historic moment, everyone. The XRP has hit fucking $2. Now you could crack open your champagne bottles or whatever. That's live here on the video. Watch it just shoot straight to 210. Some of you right now are probably like, why are we talking about Bitcoin, this fucking dinosaur? Let's talk about XRP. But it's like, you got to understand the reason XRP is doing what it's doing now is because what Bitcoin has already done. It's all just playing catch up now. Anyways, get back on the rails. It's very important. Think of this like chess, right? You think many moves ahead, but you have to consider your opening game is where a lot of the rookie mistakes are made, right? Now, you'll eventually catch up to where this is going, but a lot of people, they wait and wait and wait till the end game when they're going against the grandmaster chess player, which is the market maker. Here, we're teaching the opening game strategy. We're teaching mid game. And then when it gets time to end game, we're chill as fuck. We're not sweaty palms. So it's just another day in the matrix. Anyways, let's get back on track here. We have this idea of 130 to 150K Bitcoin. This is an idea that we've examined quite a bit. Actually, here lately, it had to do with this term that I'm calling the initial surge into price discovery. So you probably heard this now many times. But again, for those of you that are newer to the idea, or you need a quick recap. what that initial surge into price discovery looks like for Bitcoin is it's about 100 to 115% before we have a shakeout and then continuation higher. And where this would be measured from is from the daily close that we got into price discovery, which we know was the November 6th candle. So I'm just going to quickly show you what 100 to 115% looks like off that candle body open. Again, we had to wait till the close came in, but the measuring system that I'm using is from the candle body open, just to be as fair as possible here. So when we go a full 100%, that's around, let's just call it 140. And then when we go about 115%, that's 149. We could summarize this by saying it's 130 to 150K. Since the absolute top of this move, if it were to make it to 150K, for instance, it would just, for your imagination, for imagination purposes only, it would turn into a wick. And then we would see a rejection kick in during a 4-hour candle that sinks down 10% pretty much immediately after topping out. That's typically how things go in crypto land. So we do need to be aware, though, that if we hold sideways for a little bit, altcoins are going to do amazing in context to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin continues to do this shit that it's doing right now, this 90 to 100K chop, and if it was to do this for a full 2 to 3 extra weeks, all the altcoins are just going to play catch up. So it's a good thing for most of us, including myself, and we'll get to my altcoin portfolio later, of course. But I'm just letting you know that's kind of like the situation right now. And it's exactly how it went in the last cycle. It's no different. Bitcoin broke into price discovery. It stalled out a little bit. And when it stalled out, we saw altcoins catch up. And then Bitcoin broke out again, started to top out. And that was when we started to see altcoins hit prior all-time highs or start breaking into price discovery for the first time. So it could take 2 months after Bitcoin's already entered price discovery to see altcoins enter price discovery. Again, study the cycles, and you'll see this time around is literally no different. So one of the things that we talked about this move for Bitcoin breaking into 130 to 150K had to do with the speed of which that move is typically accomplished. And based on past cycles, every single past cycle, that was about 3 to 4 weeks. Now, that's not my opinion. That's just what Bitcoin does. So again, keep that in mind. Do I think Bitcoin's going to hit 130 to 150K? Yes. Would it make sense for it to hit it in this month of December? Well, that would be pretty tough, because if we were to hit 130K this month of December coming up, that'd be a 34% move. And we haven't seen a 30% candle for Bitcoin in a long time regarding a monthly. I mean, I think I showed you guys in a recent video, like maybe it was 2017. Now, let me be direct with you. If Bitcoin's going to redo what it did in 2017, then this is going to be the most historic alt season that you've ever seen in your life, like ever. This will be the super cycle or whatever buzzword people want to throw at you. So, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. If we are to do it the way we did it back in 2017, where Bitcoin just had like little corrections along the way up for a while, it did it for a long time, actually. That would be the most glorious thing ever. Now, I need to say that's not what happened back in 2020, 2021. In 2021, we had this ugly, really fast move into price discovery, all this chop into what became a crown distributional top, and then a major 55% correction that effectively ended the alt season. If anybody watches my crypto decoding blueprint, you know that I don't like this. This is no bueno. But when we look at this, on the other hand, you see just a perfect J curve to the top with many 30 to 40% corrections along the way. These were all healthy. They were exaggerated, but that's crypto. But that style is clearly a lot different than looking at this. So look at the difference. And again, I talked about this in my crypto decoding blueprint, so I don't want to waste your time with that today. But the point here is that this was the ugliest structure that could have happened. And now I got positive news. We've been back testing that really shitty all-time high top for 8 months. This is the best thing Bitcoin could have done, literally. So the fact that we didn't just keep going up in March into Q2 of this year was very good. Did it feel great for the altcoin holders that bought in March and had to sit through a 70 or 80% correction? No. Hopefully they learned something though, because that's what this is all about. You should learn. But so far, it's now seeming that Bitcoin's deepest correction has only been a 33% move, and it was bought up on a wick. So like if we were to be very, very fair here, the correction has been still only about 25-ish%. That's the biggest correction we've had this whole cycle. Obviously, many of you probably can start to assume that the corrections will be less dramatic as they once were, and also the pumps for Bitcoin will be less dramatic as they once were. That's natural as market cap grows and grows and grows. So, in plain English, I am saying that it seems very strange for Bitcoin to just blast straight to 140 or 150K this month of December. Is it likely to do it before Chinese New Year? Yes. So I'm answering, I hope I'm answering lots of questions right now. With the initial surge into price discovery, Bitcoin usually goes up 100 to 115%. I just gave you the targets. It's between 130 and 150K Bitcoin. What Bitcoin typically does after that is this. It has a really dramatic correction. Here in this example, it was 30%. All right. What's crazy about this is this happened within the month. So when I look at the monthly candles for this for January 2021, look at how it is. It's green, so it's camouflaged in this whole thing. But I'm telling you right now, in 3 to 4 weeks, Bitcoin moved up 115%, and then it had a 30% correction within the same month, and then popped up over the next 30 days, an additional 100% from that correction. That's fucking madness. So that means if we are to hit that move sooner, that 140 to 150K, I'm assuming a correction shortly after that. And the fact that altcoins are doing what they're doing right now, like across the board, this market looks incredibly bullish. So I hope I've just answered a bunch of questions. Now, the way that alt season goes is to follow that initial surge into price discovery. And if we were to just glance through a bunch of altcoins right now, sans maybe like Solana, like let's take Crow, for example. This is a project that was trading in the last bull run. Look at how it still has an additional 400% to go until it retests prior all-time highs. You see? Let's look at Avalanche for fun. This is a pretty high market cap crypto. This still has an additional 225%, guys. It's lower than where it was in March. So some of you are asking today, is it too late to buy? Is it too late to buy? No, no. But be careful. Because right now, what I've been seeing, and I'm not trying to be the guy that's the Grim Reaper, even though I usually typically become that guy. Thank me later. But I'm starting to see whenever I load up my YouTube channel, whenever I load up YouTube, all the new videos that are coming out are based around buy this new 10x altcoin, get a 1000x return in 2 weeks. Like all that horse shit is going to start flooding into your eyeballs over the next month. So please be very cautious about the things you consume right now. And I'm by no means trying to steal your attention. I don't believe I have the truth, but I do believe what I just said a second ago is fact. You're going to start seeing people who never talk about crypto, who have a real estate channel, start shilling altcoins to you. That's how you know. Ugh, this is not the most fun place to be getting, absorbed into at this time. But that's another sign to me that, well, alt season's coming soon because that FOMO is going to kick in. So we're still in accumulation territory for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is still lower than it was back in April, March of this year. So don't sleep on that opportunity. And also, what have I been saying in the past 3 to 4 videos? I even said it in the Bearable Bull podcast. I said, all the people that are waiting for a correction right now and trying to get fancy and sell and buy back in, we talked about this with XRP. You're not going to be able to pull that off. And if you do, what if you're wrong? So it's better to just sit and chill right now. And I know a lot of people are FOMOing into XRP. That's just the way of the market. It was the same thing back in 2017 during this moment. Everyone started FOMOing back in when the price revealed to you. Now is the time to believe in it. But You guys want to know something funny? And then we'll wrap up this initial section of the podcast. Lately, and I know this might sound crazy, but lately, because I'm already positioned in this market, I've been listening just in the background, like podcasts. I've been listening to a ton of Warren Buffett, like those conferences that he used to do, I guess for Berkshire Hathaway. And homie was always telling the truth about like how to invest. I know that he has his words on crypto, etc., but the dude is 94 fucking years old, right? Like he was 82 when Bitcoin was invented. So cut him some slack on that, right? He's an absolute legend. And everything that I've been listening to, like now I have the consciousness to see how powerful it is. And a lot of it is not being practiced throughout the bear market. He talks about this thing with like his investment thesis early on. I'm not sure if he still practices this, but he said it's like looking around for used cigar butts. So you might pick one up and it only has like one puff left, and it's soggy and disgusting. You know, like that's kind of his it's like talking about shit coins or the market in general when it comes to altcoins. A majority of it is nonsense that has no utility. And like you get better at finding the cigar with the most puffs in it, but like maybe it's not the sought after one. Maybe it's not like this perfect Cuban, perfectly rolled cigar by some godfather, you know? Like, and all jokes aside, my point here is that there's a lot of wisdom in these old heads, in these more wise investors like Peter Lynch, etc. Charlie Munger is definitely one of them. I'm like, I feel like he's spicy as hell too, just like me. So it's really cool to hear that coming out of like a 90-year-old man. And there's so much wisdom there, and a lot of it is not going to be practiced throughout this phase of the bull run. And a lot of influencers are going to shill people into things and probably not give them the disclaimer that, hey, I'm telling you to buy this now, but I just want to let you know that probably in 3 months, you're going to have to sell all of this. And by the way, you're probably not even going to know when to sell it all. You probably don't have a plan. So I hope you guys appreciate that stream of consciousness because it's something that needs to be said. Just be very careful about what you're consuming right now. I am not trying to personally steal your attention. I do not think I have the truth or I have the way, but I have been an incredibly successful investor by just practicing whatever my esoteric decoding system and my TA has led me to has worked. And it's not the face thumbnail and the like drama and the screaming at you and the Doge with hat coin or Elon dildo rocket token or whatever. Like you don't have to play that game. Let someone else play that game. You do what you believe is best for you. And the only way that could be possible is by you creating your own investment thesis and being open-minded. But so we've recently had Bitcoin get to 100K. Like literally, I think on a couple of exchanges, we made it to 99,800. Across many exchanges, it hit 99,600. Literally just a couple $100 short of a clear and very powerful sell wall. That sell wall is at 100,000. It's a psychological level, which means a bunch of geniuses will get liquidated at 100K Bitcoin. And as we speak, those geniuses are probably taking out loans right now to cover their position. This is exactly what happened 4 years ago around the same exact week that we just traded through. And that was Thanksgiving week. And that, for me, brings a lot of confidence that there's a cyclical nature to these cycles. And I'm talking about this V shape right here. Let me turn off all the noise. This moment right here, Bitcoin was retesting prior all-time highs of the cycle, and we had this V-shaped recovery. Now, if you look at where we're trading at today, you could see that same V-shaped recovery. So this kind of liquidation event leading into Thanksgiving week, recovery. And now one thing that's really important to realize about this structure right here is you see after Thanksgiving Thursday into the following Monday, we pushed up slightly higher than the prior microcycle top before the correction. That means that if we were to align it with what we're seeing unfold right now, that tomorrow, Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving, Bitcoin might hit 100K. It might even go to like 102K, and then we get a rejection again. And then all the people that got liquidated after that 100K Bitcoin was pierced through, they're calling the suicide hotline, and then there's a short-term pullback, and then we pivot by December 6th. So why is December 6th important? Like I've been mentioning lately in regards to our post new moon corrections, which again is not my opinion. These post new moon corrections are just something Bitcoin's been doing for most of the year, about 10 out of the last 11 months, with February being the exception. So if I quickly pull up the moon phases, you'll see what I mean. We've had every single new moon this year followed immediately with a correction. All of them except for February. Here in February, we had the new moon. It was Chinese New Year, by the way. So I think that could be the culprit. That could be very much the reason why, especially because the dragon year is a very bullish year. But this was a pump out past the new moon in a way where we actually held structure and then continued higher. We haven't seen that. We've only seen maybe 24, 48 hours after we pushed a little bit higher, but then it led to a rejection, and then we came lower than the new moon price. Here was an exception. So this is really interesting, actually, how most of the year our microcycle lows haven't necessarily been perfectly on full moons like we had in this cycle over here. It's perfect. Every new moon, full moon, new moon, full moon. It's very damn close. But look at the exception, guys. It's December 2020. So it's like, is this the way it's going to go? We had our Thanksgiving week V-shaped recovery. We hit like 102K tomorrow. Everyone gets liquidated that's trying to short this market, the smooth brains. And then we get like 2 weeks or like a week of an initial pullback, nothing crazy, like 5 or 6%. And then we push up through the next new moon at the end of our year, the black moon. And then we just push straight to Chinese New Year. That would make so much sense to me. So I hope you're taking notes. That right there is my opinion. That's me adding in all the layers and trying to keep it as simple as possible without like racking your brains with crazy decoding stuff. But it seems to be that cyclically playing out. We have our V-shaped recovery. I mean, we don't need to necessarily push to 100 or 102 exactly tomorrow. Maybe it's slightly off by 2 or 3 days. We do it sometime throughout this week. Excuse me. I need to take a sip of water because I've been talking quite a bit for the past 3 weeks straight. So 1 second. All right. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying this live stream Red Pill podcast. This is pretty cool. I wasn't planning on doing this. It's very last minute. So anyways, yeah, consider that move post Thanksgiving 2020 and the way we just blast through for, let's see how many days this was. From the correction to the peak was 42 days. That's not a lot of time, guys. Fuck. Yeah, that would put us about January 6th, like right after the black moon. That would be insane if we repeat that shit. That'd be crazy. Absolutely crazy if we repeat that. But hey, there's a cyclical pattern playing out in Bitcoin, so might as well just ride the wave, right? Now, where are we on this? Oh, there's something else that people have been asking me quite a bit about. It was from my last video that I put out addressing the Mercury retrograde chart. So again, just to quickly recap some of what I've just said, we have the new moon of February was one of the exceptions out of the 11 months we've had this year where we pushed past the new moon. 10 out of 11 of the past months we corrected immediately following the new moon. And the reason why this could be an exception now to add in perhaps a more intricate layer would be Mercury retrograde. I started off my last YouTube video talking about this, so go rewatch it if you haven't already. But that was a very, very powerful and educational video teaching about Mercury retrograde. And I showed how we do have examples such as at the end or start of the year 2023, And then the final Mercury retrograde of 2021, the final Mercury retrograde of 2020, and the first Mercury retrograde of 2021. These were all very bullish, and these were this one in particular was following the start, or I should be as simple as possible here. I'll call it the final solar eclipse of our solar cycle. Okay, guys? So that would be right here, October 2nd. You heard me say October 2nd like a billion times this year, so you're probably sick of it, but I hope you're glad that I was repetitive, because look at what the market has done since. So, yeah, we're not just making this shit up here. This is very, very powerful information. And no matter what Trump does or Kramer says or any of these talking heads, any of these politicians, anybody, if you believe that they're the ones that are running this market, well, then just go back to all the past elections, such as the one Biden won here, and we see what the market did. So it's the esoterica running the market, not what's happening with the elections, not what's happening. And I know people are going to disagree with me all day, but then we could just show the results. We could show the data. But getting back to this, we can see that Mercury retrograde that followed the start or the final solar eclipse of our solar cycle. That would be very much in alignment with this one right now. I've talked about how over the first 48 hours, it's very common to see a correction in Mercury retrograde. And also by day 5 to 7, we see a pump into Mercury retrograde, which would be ending kind of like tomorrow. Now, what makes the anomaly is when after day 7, we just keep moving up. So what we really want to look to, guys, is, let me show you right here. We want to look to like 9 days, like about 7 to 9 days out. If Bitcoin just keeps pushing up more, we're likely going to keep going, which is a big reason why it's like, don't sit on your hands right now waiting for pullbacks. I have been saying this for months now, and everyone keeps waiting and waiting and waiting. Don't, this is not financial advice, but stop fucking waiting right now for some correction, because it's just not, if it doesn't happen, you're going to really be regretting watching these charts just keep moving up and up and up. It's not worth it. So we're about to get into my portfolio now. We're going to cover all of the altcoins that I'm personally invested in. It's what you all came here for. Now, don't judge anything that we're about to do or say here, because if you're new here especially, then you weren't here through the bear market. And if you're brand new to crypto, then yeah, you just have to be as neutral as possible. And if you're somebody who's an OG wolf, like you've been here with us for years now, and you've been watching the whole bear market, you've been hanging out with us the entire time, then you definitely have the scar tissue to prove. You have the calluses on your hands from the serious workouts. You sweat through the sauna. You know that there's been some big moves that I've made with my portfolio that I've shared with you all inside of the Discord. And it wasn't stuff that seemed logical. Like I had one big de-risk that I did back in 2023, came out of nowhere. And it was just because of a conversation that I had with my accountant. And we decided to take a purposeful loss on a portion of my holdings to offset my tax liability for everything else that I had going on. And then when all things were said and done, I bought back in the same amount of tokens, and it was an amazing tax decision. And then earlier last year, or this year, excuse me, in March, I de-risked a bunch of my Bitcoin. And a lot of people are like, why are you doing that? And I was telling them, well, I'm going to rotate into more speculative altcoins. I did the same thing with Ethereum. It's just part of my strategy. Now that it's all said and done, it has a much clearer picture. But everyone who could just quickly go through the list of my buys and sells up until this recent July, you don't probably understand the reasons why some of that stuff was going on. So it's like, it could get confusing. Okay, so just be neutral right now is what I ask you for. Whether you judge me or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm in profit, so I just mean with the judgment of the why, because everyone has their own reasons. Okay, and that's something I really want to like harp on as an investor is everyone has a different cash flow situation. Everyone has different businesses. Everyone has a different set of responsibilities. Like the amount. Sometimes one person has to take care of 10. So their risk can't be so much, when 9 other people rely on you. And I hope that you see it for what it is. Some people are single, they're living alone. They might have, like they earn a sufficient amount of income, so they have a lot to invest. It's a totally different scenario than somebody that has 8 or 5 or 6 people to take care of. So everyone's in their own place. You must do what you think is best for you. It's why I created my exit strategy the way that I did. And by the way, a lot of people have been reaching out lately confused about my exit strategy blueprint, and they keep calling it an exit plan. And it's not an exit plan, it's an exit strategy blueprint. It's designed to be timeless. So that means what you're learning in that, you can apply it to today's cycle. You can apply it to the next bear market. You could apply it to the next bull run. That'll probably be 4 years from now. It will last forever. That's the point of the exit strategy blueprint. It's not an exit plan. And I worry about people when they come to me with this complaint because they think it's outdated or they think it's not accurate. And it's like, well, then you're not reading what you're buying before you buy it. And you're not trying to learn clearly. So I know this is tough and it's not sexy for me to say, and it doesn't help my business or anything, but I'm a real one. And I want you to learn. I want you to walk away from this experience with education, and I want you to become a self-reliant investor. If I wanted to just sell my exit plan, I could probably make so much money. It would be, but I don't want that. Doesn't matter to me. Like, I want you to learn. What is the saying? Teach a man to fish. And I very much believe in that because that was the way I was raised. That was the way my upbringing was like. And I'm very grateful that I had that upbringing because then I was able to attack this world head on without blaming anyone in the process for my failures. And the same thing goes for investing. It's a beautiful thing to fuck up in this market and then only blame yourself, because then that's what being a man is like. That's how you get better at this whole thing. But I worry that too many people right now, they just want to pay for the answer. And it's like, that's not the way to treat this final stage of the bull run. Again, I hope that you resonate with the stream of consciousness and see where my intent lies. Because I really, I just want you all to have the same eyes that I have, truly. Now, let's get to the portfolio. I'm going to, I guess, write this down really quickly. I could do it while we're here. This might be good for a visual. All right. You guys want me to do this on the XRP chart? Will that make you feel better watching the candle go up? Oh man, I know some people are like, this fucking guy. All right. I'm just going to write out a couple. So, by the way, this was before I wrote this down really quickly, like 30 minutes before I started filming. So this is probably going to be not the same, especially now that XRP is moving up. And then I'll run through this, write a couple more. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. And then beautiful. All right. So my updated portfolio based on today's dollar valuations. That's a very important thing to mention. Now, it's important that I started off with this because it wouldn't matter where my portfolio started based on my initial investments, because all of you are watching this today. So I'm telling you what's going on right now, because these are the prices you're faced with right now. And this is how it's all equated for me. So I have XRP at about 23%. I can't fucking believe I'm saying this because it's my number one position right now. It's probably going to be 25% by the end, and it's going to overtake just because of the obvious ROI. So I'll explain everything in a moment, but we got about 22% Bitcoin, 11% Doge, 7% ETH. This ETH position dropped because I started making a lot more venture capital plays and less ETH investments. Like, I don't really, ETH is not a big part of my investment thesis. It is, it and isn't. I also have some things that I'm working on for Waters Above University that will be crypto focused. It's not going to be the whole university is crypto focused, but the section that will focus on crypto. I'm going to give my reasoning why I would look at portfolio breakdowns the way that I would, depending on who I am and what kind of business model I have and my risk profile, etc. I think that could be a very valuable addition for anyone that's interested in that university. But anyways, then I have about 3% each of XLM, ADA, and VeChain, and then about 2% equal each of Sol, VeThor, AVAX, and Avalanche. So the rest of my portfolio is venture capital. It's made up of an additional 15 or so different altcoins, about 2% each, most of those between 1 to 2% allocation. So the 63% of my portfolio is these 4 projects. And to simplify this, if I was to consider everything based off my initial investment amounts in dollars, I'd probably say that 2/3 of my portfolio is Bitcoin, XRP, Dogecoin, and ETH. Now, a lot of people are probably surprised by the Doge play. Trust me, in the last cycle, I was talking shit too. But then I wisened up and I realized the charts are telling a story here, and you can't let your emotions get in the way. The same thing with the XRP play. A lot of people in the last cycle, they didn't know how to read charts and they didn't know how to develop an exit strategy if they can't read the charts. So it led to this issue where nobody really took profits in XRP in the last cycle. And obviously, many of you here know my story. I was publicly sharing that I was selling my XRP below $2 in the last cycle. So this is not a flex. It's just to let you know why I changed my tone about Dogecoin this cycle. It had to do with technicals, not an opinion, not because somebody was out there yelling that the dog is the enemy sign of the dragon or whatever horse shit that people, like I was just using my system and what I believed was the most powerful system that could possibly be, utilized in cryptocurrency investing. And I believed in myself this cycle. I really believed in myself. And I hope that inspires you all to believe in yourself. Like, be confident that you made the right plays. Now, I knew to take profits in the last cycle because of a lot of things that I was seeing develop in these charts. Also, the narratives that were going on back then weren't as savory. So it made sense for me. Also, I got most of my XRP below 25 cents. So I was in incredible profits on this run up to close to $2. Now, for this cycle, I did not de-risk anything since last July for XRP. I'll move it out of the way so you guys could see the glory. I haven't de-risked anything since July, and I did buy back in. I forgot exactly when or why, but July 2023. So anyways, I've been publicly talking about selling this project quite a bit, and the reason why is TA, and the reason why I've put so much of my portfolio in Dogecoin this cycle is because of TA. This is powerful for you guys to realize. Like, I do make a lot of my decisions based on the esoterica, but I do like to sometimes say, well, if my ego gets in the way like it did last cycle, then I'm going to have the same results in the last cycle. You got to check in with your ego. And I knew that Doge was a shit coin, meme coin, but like, look at the performance, man. Who the fuck cares? If you see it cyclically hitting a technical target every single cycle, then you can't sleep on it, no matter what anyone says. So I was very confident in the TA on this play. I forgot my initial in Doge. At this point, it's at least 300% up right now, and I think it's going to close to $4. So I'll get to that in a moment, but I'm just letting everyone know about 2/3 of my portfolio is in those 4 projects. Let me get back to that chart real quick. Yeah, it's in these 4. Based off initial investment amounts. And then almost everything else is venture capital. We can just say 2/3 of my portfolio is Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, and then the other 1/3 is a venture capital bag made up of about 21, 22, 23 different altcoins. And remember earlier this year, I de-risked a portion of my Bitcoin and Ethereum positions to increase my positions in more speculative altcoins, like I said a little bit earlier. Naturally, you want to go heavier in the more risky stuff at the end of the accumulation cycle because you're going to be a part of alt season. I would not be telling anybody right now to buy Bitcoin. I don't believe Bitcoin right now is the smartest investment because how much more juice is in the fruit? I mean, maybe Bitcoin can go to 450 and catch up the stock to flow, which I am not saying will happen. But in this environment with war on the table and tariffs and sanctions and all the crazy shit that comes with more development in this war on a global scale, then you'll see crazy stuff happen with fiat pairs. You'll see more hyperinflation. You can't discount the possibility of Bitcoin being at multiple six figures is what I'm trying to say, because it's the only asset that's always proven everyone wrong every time. And the people that have this mentality that because of how ridiculous the economic policies are in general and what the Federal Reserve is effectively here to do, which is to be a global parasite, then things like Bitcoin, especially when institutions are getting involved, the sky's the limit, and it's always been. So, hence why I would not recommend the Bitcoin play right now. And now with XRP getting to where it's at, it's like you're basically buying close to all-time highs. And I don't say that to discourage people. I've made a video every week for 2.5 years talking about XRP in a public YouTube video. What more could you say? You know, this was your accumulation zone. I showed it in this chart right here. This was the accumulation zone, zone 5. How many podcasts did I go on Bearable Bull and talk about this? I mean, it's endless, the amount of times. So we should not sleep on this chart. This is a beautiful thing. Might go down in the Hall of Fame of XRP at this point with the way it's breaking out, because it's exactly the same as breaking out of phase 5 in 2017. So let me just quickly get back to the Bitcoin chart to wrap up everything that's happening over there so we could catch it up with what's happening with XRP. We'll do quick review of what's happening with Ethereum, and then we'll go through that whole list of altcoins, and I'll try to, be as thorough as possible with any TA stuff as we go. But the rundown of my portfolio I just shared, save that information if you'd like. It's going to change very rapidly, effectively, now that we're in this parabolic phase of the bull run. So let me get over to Bitcoin. We talked about the final Mercury retrograde phase being kind of bullish. I gave you a time frame to assume where that could trigger and be one of those more bullish examples about day 7 into day 8, day 9. If we're like breaking into 100K and going higher, then shit, I would say that we're probably moving straight to 115, 120 real soon. And then we have that move to 130 to 150 would be the quote initial surge into price discovery, unquote. And then I would anticipate a correction after that for Bitcoin, especially if it makes it up to 150K. Now we're looking at I want to look at the monthly chart. We have concretely closed above this 1618 on the fib pull from the swing high to the swing low from March prior all-time high, to August swing low, 49K Bitcoin. Satoshi, 49 years old. 49ers lost the Super Bowl. Kamala Harris lost the election. Her name equals 49 in Gematria. Boom, boom, boom. It's been pretty perfect. I haven't looked at the NFL standings so far this year, but I think one of my picks is doing very well, the Detroit Lions. So we'll see how that all transpires. And you guys know I'm not a sports guy, so if you ever get any sports decoding from me, it's some of the most neutral decoding you'll ever hear. But we did break above that 94K target, which would be the mirror of 49, and we closed a month above it. Now, if I double click and I turn this setting off, you'll see that this was lowered to about 89. So however you want to look at it, whether it's logarithmic or linear, we have closed above. It's a beautiful thing to see. And now the next one, 618 pull, would be the whole cycle pull, which would be from the prior all-time high November 2021 down to November 2022, perfectly 1 calendar year later. And we have 173K Bitcoin. And now some people are like, well, I don't know, I don't know if that's possible. Well, that's what we did the last cycle. If you pull from here to there, you'll see we hit the 1618 twice. So opinions are opinions. It is what it is. And by the way, 173K Bitcoin is not ridiculous. It's very much in the cards, and stock to flow right now. Let me quickly look at it. Stock to flow in February is already 200K. Stock to flow at the end of the year is at 190. Now, Bitcoin has always caught up to stock to flow. So if we can't make it up that high at this time, I do eventually think we'll catch up sometime later this next year, which I'm going to wrap up that thought really quickly because some people might be like, well, Waters, what are you saying? It's that I do think 2025 might be more bullish than some people are thinking. Again, I've talked about the lunar eclipse and the start of the lunar cycle, but that doesn't mean lights out. All right. We had a 55% correction but we also went up higher. And a lot of altcoins did actually, some altcoins, I should say, to be fair, did break out even further through the lunar cycle. I think it was Solana was probably the best example of something that's a high market cap that just kept going. That's a very positive thing. So those Solana holders out there, this solar cycle thing might not be as instantly applicable as it would be for Bitcoin, for comparison. But you got to remember, in my crypto decoding blueprint, I lay this out very thoroughly. Bitcoin is Jupiter, Solana is the black sun. I teach it all inside of that course. It's very fascinating stuff. It's probably, for many of you, the first time you've ever heard the market be looked at that way, but I think that's what we have here. We're looking at the titans. We're looking at the Olympians when we talk about these cryptos. And everything else is just kind of like little energy, like little dots in the sky, right? When you look at the sky, you see constellations. Well, you see the moon, the queen, and then you see the big constellations, and then there's flickering nonsense that nobody knows about until NASA named it or whatever. That is just all the rest of the altcoins. Just kind of stuff that's influenced by whatever else is bigger and more energetic around it. If I had to give you kind of an analogy to think of. So monthly close, incredible. Was this a bi-monthly? No. So we have the quarterly, 4-month, and bi-monthly coming in. So the most important would be, in my opinion, holding 100K. If Bitcoin gets above 100K, I would like to see it close out the year at 100K. And then I'm very confident we're going to see a crazy alt season. Monthly looking amazing. Bi-weekly is coming in today. Okay, this is very, very important, because while some people who do candlestick analysis, which I'm not the biggest fan of, no offense, they might want to call this early a hanging man. By the way, candlestick analysis is really, yeah. The people that say that my system is like pseudo and weird and not based on anything, it's like candlestick analysis is its own mythology. Anyways, yeah, I mean, people could have called that back here. We had a continuation. So I wouldn't get too caught up in this, especially because I think the bi-weekly overrides the weekly. That's why I like looking at the 2-week, monthly, etc. So this bi-weekly candle closing anywhere it's at now, which, by the way, I think CME is about 98K. So CME is above us. It'll be opening up in however many hours. This is very, very powerful bi-weekly close that we're getting. So I think we should be hitting 100K soon. And then once we do that, it's going to be a liquidation event, and then also a FOMO event. So keep that in mind. It'll be like both energies colliding. 3-day candle closing on today too. I don't think we have the juice to make it up to this level of 98 or whatever. But fuck, what a 3-day close at 99,000 effectively. And then we closed off last week at 98, I think, if I'm correct. Almost. I think on some exchanges we closed at 98. So if this turns into a doji, like final minutes, what would, I guess, like a shooting star for those of you that like the candlestick jargon. Yeah, so this is looking great. I really have no TA at this point more to share. I think I got through most of the energetics and everything to keep in mind earlier. We have the 8 holding as a support right now. 200 is somewhere around 67, which is really nice to see, because if this 200 simple moving average starts breaking above the prior cycle peak of March, which could be effectively happening by the start of the lunar cycle, I think that's a very powerful thing to consider, because if we were to have a crazy washout, I think that'll catch. Let's look at the weekly, where we at with the, okay, so we're far above the 8, and that's a nice thing to see. Let's look at the RSI. We're only at 75 on the RSI on the weekly, so I don't think we're overbought at all. With crypto, it's very normal to hit 90 on the weekly, so we have plenty of room. All right, let's get through this. Nothing really to say on ETH. It's just playing catch up. ETH had a really nice breakout right at the top of the golden pocket, but we still have this M pattern to retest, which will probably be a short-term resistance somewhere around $4,000 even. So what I could tell you right now, if you wanted one note to keep in mind, is we just want to see a close above the 888 fib for Ethereum. If we can close above $4,025, then I think we'll be retesting all-time highs soon after and probably breaking into price discovery even momentarily. Geez Louise, is XRP horny right now. So yeah, XRP we should just get to. I hope you guys are enjoying today's live stream podcast. Let me just look at the chat real quick. About an hour in. Commentary from Two Trades. I agree with you. Said I never worry about candles except when they close and when. Yeah, it's really tough to do candlestick TA when you're doing technical analysis on an altcoin or in crypto in general. All right, cool. Looks like we're looking smooth. Everything's going nicely. We've got 830 wolves hanging out with us. Mamma mia, I was not expecting that. I didn't look at this number until just now. That's amazing because we're in our mastermind community. So you guys really took the time out to be here with me. I really appreciate it. Truly, I'm grateful for all of your support. That's a beautiful thing to see 800 people. There's more people hanging out in this than the public live stream. So breaking records. What a beautiful thing as XRP pumps to Valhalla. Maybe you got some laughs along the way. Maybe some of you cried along the way. Who knows? It'll be like a movie production. TA Tarantino style. Make it like a spaghetti Western. 217 XRP. I mean, guys, like, what was my last update on this? I said that if we were to close where we were trading at in my last update, that it would have been the highest weekly close in 7 fucking years. And here we are. We are. Whew, this is gnar. This is gnarly. $2.18. Like, when will it stop? Well, I think in the mid-20s, if all things go according to plan. And now let's look at some of that from this perspective right here. So I've talked about this in some podcasts. This is a cleaner chart than the one that I typically go to. This one's just to give some numbers and positions for all of these pivots. But this one I think is a very clean chart. It's just the swing high to swing low fib pull from the last cycle, which is all the way back in 2013, by the way. So XRP is not a baby anymore, you know, like this thing is a decade in the making. And will its, what would that be, 12th year anniversary when it finally becomes Jesus? I don't know. But yeah, swing high to swing low. We could see the 1618 is immediately tested. That's pretty wild, right? Like in a straight line breakout, we went straight to the 1618. So when I double click this, you want to make sure that this setting is turned on. It is. And then after that, we got a rejection. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen again, but please just take this one step at a time. When this rejection came in, we saw a 66% correction in about 49 days. So this wasn't immediate. It took about 7 weeks. And then overall, it was like 200 or so days before so it was like 210 days before we made another spike up. But guys, if we were to repeat that, if we are to repeat this, that would be like seeing a $25 XRP like soon, and then a rejection off of that level to fucking 10. So all these people are like, I'm going to buy back in. Somebody told me that it's going to hit $1.96 and then it's going to go down to 50 cents again. Like, bruh, you need to learn the charts. You need to learn these charts. Like, there was no resistance at $1.96. There's 8 daily closes for XRP above $2. So when you're hearing these claims, isn't it nicer when you know how to read the charts yourself so that you can immediately go to the chart and back test what you're hearing and then call bullshit or not? That's all I'm trying to help you guys with, like, truly. Because I know that I'm not the voice of the whole market. I'm a very small channel, actually, quite small. And because of the nature of what I teach, it's not going to be accepted by anyone really on the grand scale because it's too esoteric. And I accept that. And I knew that before I started this journey 4 years ago. But needless to say, all the people that were banking on this $1.90 whatever call have just been liquidated, probably trying to short the market. And now they're watching it go up higher. They're probably adding to the trade, getting about to be liquidated even more, lose more XRP, all to try to get fancy. And they think it's going to go down to 50 cents. And the whole time they watched it go from 50 cents to over $2. So I made the joke. When XRP was 50 cents, people wanted $1. Then when it was $1, people wanted it at 50 cents. That's not investing. That's fucking gambling. So if you missed the boat on this, it's okay. But I hope there's been lessons learned along the way. Don't be one of those people that FOMOs in to like a God candle. You know, there's so many other opportunities out there. So many. And for the people that are like, well, there's so much more ROI to be made in XRP than everything else. Like, guys, this is 1,000% move from here to 25, which I know is glorious. But let me just quickly show you, like, in crypto, dude, that's literally nothing. Let me look at GALA real quick. If GALA just makes it up to its prior all-time high, it will be 1,900%. I mean, all it has to do is get back to some people are saying, oh, well, what if it can't? Imagine it did what about XRP did, which is it made it close to the 888 fib of the macro pull. That's still as good as XRP. Now, is that me telling you buy GALA? No, but I'm just teaching you that there's many other chances here in crypto land. And I would not be surprised, honestly, like if we were to be met by a crazy liquidation event on XRP very soon, because this is all FOMO. This is Sunday retail traders. That's all it is. Let's get back. So yeah, getting back to this idea, if we were to pump straight to 26 by like, let's just say late February, which the move could happen. Again, keep everything in context here because 14, 15 is a lot more likely. But if we were to get that 60% correction, we'd only be coming back to 10. And we're trading at 2 right now. So that's a pretty big fucking gap. And then 200 days of sideways followed by a major move to the upside as a final pulse. And then, you know, if we were to redo something like this, I would be speechless. Especially for how poorly this asset has performed, which no one could deny. I don't love to do this, guys, and I also, not to be the Grim Reaper, but anyone who does this type of stuff where they're like pulling fractals and they make that a majority of their TA and how they teach you TA, especially these people that are like flipping the fractals, like they're flipping it upside down and inverting it and all of this, like, be careful. That's not TA. That's mental gymnastics at best. But yeah, I mean, this is if we were to entertain the same fractal, which is not my favorite way of doing things, but hey, why not? This would be a move up to about 23, 24 right there at the golden ratio, no different than what it would have been in the last. Then the pullback to 910, like I showed you, sideways until about August, and then a crazy fucking pump till September 8th. Now, why is this so important? Because September 7th is the second lunar eclipse of our lunar cycle. And when Bitcoin topped out in 2021, it topped out at 69K in November 10th, right before the second lunar eclipse of our solar cycle, or lunar cycle, excuse me. So if we were to align things, I do feel that we could have the double peak cycle. I talked about this in my crypto decoding blueprint. Double peak cycle is my own theory. I'm entertaining it because I have some charts that point to it, but also it's because that last time that we had the double peak cycle was in the year of the snake. And that's what we're moving into. So it's like, I am not pulling this out of nowhere. Now, could XRP go to $174? Well, I just want to let you know that if it does have any ability to get up that high, we are in major problems in our economy in general. Like, we're talking about some event occurred with our banking system, and it's not good. It means everything will be much, much, much more expensive. And probably after a round of layoffs and artificial intelligence comes in to offset a lot of the labor costs. And that could all definitely go down next year. I know some people might think it's a little too soon, but look at what Tesla has started to share with us, right? These robo taxis. I mean, I think that's just, they're getting the ball rolling. They're going to move into a normalization phase for humanoid robots very soon. I entertain $100+ XRP when we live in that world for sure. Because at that point, what's money? And I could feel it, the stomach growling for some people right now. They're like, what, you mean that I won't be happy when I'm rich? It's like, well, rich doesn't buy you happiness. If you think wealth is money, then you miss the plot. People are wealth. Relationships are wealth. And we're moving into a world that's going to have less of those. We're going to have more people interacting with machines. We're going to have more people getting replaced by machines. We're going to see people get married to machines. I know it sounds wild, but it's going to happen. And that landscape, I could definitely entertain crazy $400,000 Bitcoin and $100+ XRP for sure. I could definitely in that world. Because the technocrats will just pour all their money into these things. And yeah, they'll save all their money on labor, which has always been part of their plan. That's why it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting way of perceiving things. I don't know if it's exactly the best or most accurate way to perceive things, as I just kind of memed this way of TA a moment ago. Hence why I don't talk about this, because I don't really think that this is the way to go. Plus, market cap was significantly lower back in this cycle. Significantly. And XRP was one of the few altcoins. There wasn't a whole gambit of 20, 30, 40, 50,000 shitcoins in competition with XRP. Now I think we're moving into like where I don't want to say utility, but like people are finally waking up to what XRP is as an investment opportunity, stuff that we've been pointing out for 3-4 years now. People are just going to start waking up to it when the price is already substantially higher. And that's what leads to the FOMO run that you get here. I think we're clearly seeing it unfold right in front of our eyes. So not a whole lot to say on XRP while it's breaking out parabolically, but I do remember saying that a $2 XRP should come soon. It's effectively happened. It's wild to watch. Coupled with a 100K Bitcoin, I think that would be FOMO that we've never seen before in crypto, because we'll be getting it for that asset for Bitcoin. Like we didn't really get it so much in the last cycle as much as we saw it with altcoin, like things like SHIB, or even with this recent cycle with Pepe. I mean, there's that peanut thing, like that's serious FOMO, right? But institutions are almost a turnoff for crypto people. Now they're becoming something that's accepted. So how much money does it take to move Bitcoin from 100,000 to 150,000? You do the math. It would be like $1 trillion of market cap. It's crazy amount of money, but these technocrats have it. Anyways, I know that was a little doom and gloom, but this is the Red Pill podcast. And if you can't take the red pill, then probably showed up in the wrong place. The truth sets you free, but the truth sucks. So congratulations. Similar TA that I shared with Ethereum, if we can close above the 888 fib, which is $2.24, we're going to break all-time highs soon. So at this rate, XRP can absolutely break into all-time highs before the end of this month. You heard the best news you've heard all year. Let's get to Solana. We'll run through these at a reasonable pace. I know this is definitely taking this is going to be a longer podcast than usual. Obviously, I expected it. I expected to take some extra time hanging out with you guys. So I know you all appreciate it. Solana has retested its prior all-time high, and maybe on some charts has even slightly broke above its all-time high. But I want to quickly check in with CoinMarketCap and see how much we've. Yeah, 1 second. Let me pull this up. I'm starting with Solana because it's going to be the quickest and easiest and not as much fun chart to look at. Get it out of the way early. All right. So you can see that XRP has concretely broke above the market cap of We should just do this live here. Let's make a tweet. Let's do a viral moment. We've already watched XRP hit $2 on the stream. We might as well just fucking go for the glory, right? One second. I don't know if you guys could see what I'm doing. It's silly to have to. What should I say? What should I say? And that was quick. Let's throw a hashtag in there because, you know, we got to be like the cool kids. That's it. That's a money maker right there. All right. Sorry for memeing the moment. Let's get back. Whoa. Got this double play on the background. All right. Let me know real quick because I'm looking at the chat. Is my audio echoing? I hope it's not. I'm looking at the chat right now. I'm just going to see. Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, XRP is concretely broke above the market cap, and it will get past Tether, I believe, at like $2.34. So 234. Keep that in mind. I believe it will take about a $2.35 or maybe $2.32-ish XRP, and then it'll be ranked number 3 for market cap. That's pretty significant considering the speed of the move. It was like we watched that speed happen maybe 2 months ago or so, or a month ago with Dogecoin. Like it just like raged all the way up pretty high. Now it's mellowing out. Now we could see XRP is caught up. We could see all the ISO 222 coins have caught up. We're going to cover many of them now. But yeah, we'll move on to the charts. I know this has been kind of a longer one than expected, but Solana, this is the easiest one for us to start with because I believe the initial move is going to be somewhere around 420. I'm just realizing I have that exact level marked out. So silly. But yeah, the reason, guys, is because it's like that uncomfortable new all-time high. This is something that these larger caps like to do. I'm just from experience, I've realized this, like Solana is likely to move with Bitcoin breaking 100K naturally. And then probably just only get to like 420 or so, and then rejection, and then it'll move with the whole alt market. But I do think we'll see $1,000 Solana in this cycle. I really do. And if I double click right here on this fib and I turn this off and I bring this to the 4236, you'll see it's sitting at right about $1,000.75. So $1,100. I'm confident that that's a possibility. So at today's prices, you know, maybe not the greatest investment of all time, but if we have another crazy bear market on Solana like we did in the last cycle where it lost 98% of its value, if you bought onto that weekly close and you were holding still to this day, you're up 2,000 fucking percent. So it's like, how much more can this thing go up is what I'm trying to say here. Congratulations if you're anyone who bought over this time horizon. You're up 1,000%. So like, I know people right now might be getting discouraged by what I just said, but like, that's the power of buying the bear market. The people that are buying today for the first time, don't be sad or anything. Don't have any guilt or shame. Like I just showed you a moment ago, how there's many of opportunities that are still available in this market, but we all know buying low during a bear market when everyone's depressed and nobody cares and everyone's bored, that's where the gains are. Because if you're just patient and you could hold through it, then you have this opportunity where the people that are like, oh, Solana's been doing nothing lately. Well, the people that were holding from 2023 don't feel that way if they look at their portfolio and how much it's grown. So yeah, like you just got to look at things in the whole picture. All right. So I kind of feel like that'll be the initial move. Most likely make it to 1,000. That'll be a 5,000 to 6,000% overall move for this cycle. That's amazing. Now, if we start seeing some gnarly stuff go down with Bitcoin where it could break 250 and 300, or if like we see XRP getting above $20 and those sorts of numbers, then yeah, man, for sure. We could definitely see much higher targets, and we'll reassess that in a separate Red Pill podcast. I don't want to make today's whole Red Pill be about all just getting so focused on upside targets, because there's context that's needed, and we need to look at so many other metrics that I won't know about until we get to that moment, such as what the dollar's doing, the DXY. I need to look at the overall markets. I need to look at what's happening with precious metals. I need to look at what's happening on some big on fiat pairs, also, like in general, just with Forex. Like we're watching the Russian ruble collapse right now. Perhaps that might be bullish for crypto, because we saw what happened with the Russia-Ukraine invasion. That was actually a boost in the Bitcoin price at the time because of sanctions. You know, there's plenty of things that we could talk about. And because we're in such a volatile world right now, those things are going to come up along the way. And if I say things today about some arbitrary number to the top and people hold that as like gospel, they're removing the context, and that's not how TA or investing works. So let's go to HBAR. 18% today, guys. I told you this is exactly what the phase of the bull, what this phase of the bull run's like. You wake up and you're like, again, it's up 10%. You wake up tomorrow, again, it's up 20%. You wake up, you're like, what the fuck? When is this going to stop? And then the next day you wake up and it's down 30%. You're like, what the fuck? You know, and then you need to go to therapy. That's what crypto is. It's like, so being calm and chill and just like becoming desensitized to some of these numbers is probably the best thing that could happen for you. I'm being serious right now. Because this bull run phase right here is fucking crazy. You know, it's just, it's too much too soon. Look at this. Look at this. This thing went up 1,500% in 70 days. Yeah. Yeah. How much do you make in the stock market? Can you have ever made 1,500%? And you're like, maybe if you bought an individual stock, or you bought like the bottom of the .com bubble of the NASDAQ. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back at some of those numbers, but this, you can do it in 2.5 months. That's unsafe. So yeah, like this market is crazy. Anyways, well, let's get to the technicals. That's what you guys want. At least what some of you want. Maybe some of you like the commentary more. But we've made it into the golden pocket. This is very important, because when we've had this moment here, which is a automatic rally followed by this rejection, which kind of I would call a double bottom, even though it's very ugly. Crypto charts are ugly. This right there for me is the definitive spring, and that means we're in an SOS. And an SOS is also usually coupled technically by being in the golden pocket. So in plain English, this is really nice to see. And I think once we could get above the 702 for HBAR, that would be around 25 cents. We'll quickly move to the 888 fib, and that will be effectively prior all-time highs, because we had a bunch of chop around that 41 cent level. And I think that'll be coupled with the breakout in ETH. I think obviously HBAR is riding the coattails of the XRP move right now. Many things are. And you could equate for the gains of one against the other and do that if you want. But ultimately, all the black and white symbolic coins, so like HBAR is one of them, XRP is one of them, Stellar Lumens is one of them, IOTA, Algorand, Cosmos, all projects that I hold, even Crow. I think those are going to have that like Q4 crazy finish. And when did I say this? I said this about October 2nd. I said, because the X coins, the coins that had the X symbolism for the year of 2024, 24X is the 24th letter. We've talked about it a lot. I haven't talked about it as much lately because we moved through Rosh Hashanah. But one of the things that I was talking about back in probably September, August, some of you might remember, was watch, once we move through Rosh Hashanah, which was the solar eclipse, once we move into like that October, November, December timeframe, watch all these suppressed X coins and all the suppressed black and white symbolic coins. Those are the ones that are going to go fucking crazy. And that's pretty wild to see that that play out too. So if anyone has any of those sound clips, like timestamps from past videos I made, please share it with me. I would love to just again kind of tell people about the esoteric applications of this market, because that's really what I want to illuminate people to. But yeah, from a technical perspective, it's really nice to see weekly closes now above this cluster. And we've closed now above the 0.5 fib. So we are very likely to maintain this 20 to 30 cent range over the next month. Just be kind of aware though right now, this project doesn't have a lot of data. So as a technical analyst, I have to be real with you. I have no prior cycles to really talk about here. So I could entertain higher moves such as this 1618 fib at the top, but you are aware that I'm telling you this information with very, very limited numbers. And also I decoded HBAR inside of my exit strategy blueprint, and the decoding that I did and the price targets are still applicable for this cycle. So that'll be very helpful for those that are interested in this project. Let me move on to Avalanche. Okay, cool. So you can see this is kind of in the similar posture where it's catching up to the golden pocket, but we're still lower than where we were in March, as opposed to the HBAR chart we were just looking at a minute ago. We're much higher than where we were in March. So this is a buy. Again, not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do, but AVAX is kind of still in that position where it's primed and ready based on its chart to enter price discovery. And I do not see any pullbacks lower than $20 in the cards. And I did draw out this line. It's a very, very speculative trend line because I'm also working with no data with Avalanche, like nothing. But I'll be honest, I do have some symbolism in this one that I like for the year of the snake, personally. That's just my own decoding. That's my own opinion. And I'm not going to use that to persuade anyone that this is definitely like an absolute win. But I do feel confident that this project will be breaking all-time highs and it will be heading into at least the $500 range. That would make a lot of sense. And if it could hyperextend all the way up to this 1618 target, I do think it's in alignment with the trend line and the timing of the February new moon. So lots to consider there, but needless to say, I think that this jump and break above the red line, which is the 702 fib, that'll be the trigger point to see a $200 AVAX shortly after. And what's that from where we are now? I mean, that's already a 400%, 350% move. So I still think that AVAX is in accumulation. XLM. I'm going to quickly look through this one because we covered it last week. And this is, in my opinion, not a buy for me personally. It's too high. I already went through this in my last YouTube video, and I was accumulating in 2023 on this project around slightly below 9 cents. I don't remember the exact timeline. To me, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to anyone either. But it was an investment that I was making just with my feelings of what XRP was going to do. It ended up being a very good play. But now where it's at, this like kind of straight line move, I don't trust this move also because if I was to show you what a monthly chart looks like, you'll see why. See that white line that's going across the screen? That's the monthly resistance. And we literally just closed at the monthly resistance, the same as the top of the alt season in 2021 and the same as the first big bull run that it had in 2018, which is still currently the all-time high. I think that type of movement is very unsophisticated, and we're buying something at this point that has already gone up a substantial amount. It's already gone up 400 or 500%, and of course, price discovery is very likely. But again, it's riding the wave of XRP at current prices. You're kind of buying it in a similar. I feel the same about XRP right now too. XRP had all these months, years to accumulate at lows, and now it's caught up very fast. And that's the nature of XRP. It's very, very quick. And this move with XLM was incredibly explosive. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But in general, I'm going to stick to my TA on this one. Once we get above the 888 fib, we should shortly after break $1. And I think XLM breaking $1 will be a psychological level that will be exactly what it needs. Like exactly what it needs in order to continue into price discovery for the first time since 2017 or 2018, excuse me. So that was 7 years ago, right? So great. When something has been suppressed for 7 years, whilst other things had a glorious alt season in 2021, that was the reason to focus on those projects in the last bear market. That was why I did, at least, because I think the Warren Buffett way, where it's like, yeah, you could find you keep getting good at finding soggy cigar butts with one puff left, but like eventually you'll get better and better and better at that, and you'll see it for what it is, and you're not going to buy this very exclusive, overpriced hype thing, because everything is working on hype cycles as well. If you study any arbitrage, you'll realize that. So there's also a lot you could learn from studying those markets as well. Like why during 2021 we saw things like luxury watches become so inflated, we saw housing become incredibly inflated, and then we had a huge correction. And then some assets have done really well over time. Some have not. Some things have yet to recover. Some things are starting to crash now, while some things are pumping really hard now. So hype is a huge piece to all of this. And that's what a lot of these altcoins are about. So XLM, though, is not a hype coin. That's a big reason why I invested in the last bear market too. I don't love to buy things that are like really hype projects, because I feel like I have more room to go, and I could be a little bit more calm and not have to rely so much on cultural moments like people typically do with very hype-based things. Okay, we're going to AAVE. If I could find it amongst my list. Boom. This has been another good performing asset for me so far since my initial buy-ins. I love this structure on AAVE, how it just continues to make higher lows and higher highs. It's rising, very, very clean chart. It spent a lot of time getting rejected at the 236, and then it broke above and spent a lot of time back testing the 236. That's very nice to see. I love this chart. Now, AAVE is one of those that every time I cover it, I have to do this and just show you, like, holy moly. 74,000%. 74,000%. That's so much fucking money that could have been made with this thing. So I don't anticipate it to have the same crazy bull run, but what we do have is data, as opposed to the last couple projects. We did not have data. So you see this one peaked in the alt season of 2018. Of course, like many things, have a crazy bear market, followed by a insane recovery. Now, you guys a moment ago that were watching me do the Solana TA, maybe you were like, what does he mean by 420? And like, why come up to that price? And why get rejected after the new alt? Well, it's because I've studied these charts so much, guys. And I've seen this pattern where we have an all-time high. Sure, we get a little bit above it, 100%. And then we get, boom, 70% mid-cycle correction. Everyone starts buying here. The market maker says, fuck you. And then they take everything from you. And then you miss out on this, which is another 2,000% move. Okay. So you should be buying down here. But at the end of the day, like, we're now approaching the golden pocket on most things, which if I had to just use my eyes to quickly scan, it would be somewhere around here. So we have a pretty nice move ahead. But I'm just letting you know, like, the initial break into price discovery is a very deceiving thing, and it messes up a lot of people, because FOMO kicks in usually as we're getting back to all-time highs, or just breaking them. And the market maker's smart. They love to destroy you emotionally. And here, we're all about keeping our emotions in check. So I've seen this move and correction and the way that it recovers out of it into the true end of the cycle high enough times now that I will not be surprised if I saw that play out in Solana, for instance. So I hope you're all seeing the method to my madness here. But anyways, now if we pull the fib and we see where this went, I'm gonna double click, turn on. Yeah, it's not even fair, because it's so much data, but I like doing this. Okay, so I'm sometimes people are going to be like, well, you're just making it fit. No, I've done this many times when we get very exaggerated data. So when something loses 99.99% from the top, and we only had 30 days of data from that initial data set, you see, like, you need to be flexible. So what I personally like to do when I pull fibs is I like to pull it many styles. I'll do it once in logarithmic, I'll do it once in linear, and I'll mark off my levels. Then I'll go back and I'll try to pull my fib and reorient it in a way where I get more touch points, or I get more reasonable touch points. And this is actually probably an even safer way to do it right there, because of this move, all of this time trading around this level, and then this final back test before we took off. That would have been the better way to pull this fib. But in crypto, you got to keep yourself open to these ideas. In traditional TA, you wouldn't, of course, do this. But with crypto, you do. Why? Well, because this fucking asset went up 70,000%. Or look, 150,000% if I pulled it from that. That's madness. So yeah, now with this recent fib pull, though, you see I get 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests. I could effectively pull this up to about right there. That would be data that's spanning over a year and a half, guys. So that's a very clean level to keep in mind. And the 1618 pushes us up to about $3,000. Now, would be glorious. From where we are right now to prior all-time highs is about 225%. So this is still sort of a buy. It's a little better of a buy than like something like XLM. But the upside potential here that we're looking at somewhere about 1,500%. So I'd call it 1,000% move is definitely possible for this, especially if it could break above 1,000. Now, notice where 1,000 is. It's slightly above all-time highs. So I wouldn't be shocked if we initially move up to 1,000, maybe a mid-cycle correction into the initial part of our lunar cycle. And then on the double cycle peak, we push up one more time. We'll see. We'll have to reassess when we get there. Algorand. Yeah, everything tied back to this black and white symbolism is doing crazy right now. But Algorand, I've always kind of been very critical with because of the fact that we were just trading for all of June, July, and August, and into October even. At COVID, C19 lows. Sorry, I can't say that word. C19 lows. You know, like that's a shit coin. No offense. But Bitcoin was trading at $3,000 down here. Bitcoin's currently almost at $100,000. So do the maths. This not only had a devastating bear market, just look at it, but we started to go lower than the most historic, like devastating global lockdown period any of us have ever lived through. And this asset has been just continually bearish. So, I mean, yay, it's going up now, but like it hasn't been an impressive chart at all. So yeah, just being honest here, like, you know, betting on ISO 222 and the future of it and kind of things that people are way more knowledgeable about than I am and have their own channels dedicated to this stuff. It's like, sure, it kind of makes sense as part of your investment thesis, but don't make it all of your investment thesis. And that's what I worried about over the past 2 to 3 years with many people. They just made their whole portfolio these ISO projects, and they've been the ones that have been complaining the most. So that type of diversification, like moving forward, if you timed it right, sure, you're, you know, a genius. But I mean, there's been so much more being made in this market outside of that basket. And I do understand that some people think due to upcoming regulations and many changes to come, that the only projects that will still be around is the ISO projects. But I don't necessarily believe that, to be honest. I think there's a lot more in the conversation. But conspiracy aside, this is doing pretty well right now. And the fact that it's only back up at the 0.5 fib and it hasn't entered price discovery means that there's some room. There's about 400%. Horrible chart though. Absolutely horrible chart. So for me to entertain, you know, crazy prices into price discovery is tough. But $5 is definitely possible. And now from here to $5 is great. I mean, fuck. That would be an almost 1,000% move. Anything that has the opportunity of making 500% or more minimum is amazing, you know? But if you're buying things that are already trading near all-time highs, then it's not as simple as that, right? Buy low, sell lower is the meme. Sorry, just having fun. Let me reset this chart real quick and then we'll move on. So yeah, let me get this fib corrected because it looks silly. Keep an eye on the 702, but more importantly, this level I marked of 80 cents. Once we break above that, I think shortly after, we're going to have to deal with this $1.50 level. This as above, so below kind of yin-yang thing. So this was all rejections. Then when we got above it, we tried to hold it as support, but we couldn't. And then that was when the bear market kicked in. So 150 to 170 is like a lethal level for Algorand. And where does that align? Perfectly at the 888 fib. So anybody who learned the 888 from this channel, you know, it's like super powerful, and anybody can get free TradingView and free the fib you could throw on. It's not an indicator, so you could play around with them, and you could add in the 888 custom, and it's game changer. I mean, just that alone, learning how to master using the fibs will make it so you can master a market cycle. Let's move on to Doge. The most hated, the most traded. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. It's I hate the fact that I have so much of this thing. Every time I look at my portfolio, I'm like, I'm disappointed in you, brother. But hey, there's money to be made in the market, and that's what we're here to do. This isn't a moral quest. If it was, then like, what's going on with Jesus token? You know, is that your way of believing in the guy? You make a fucking crypto. Is that what Jesus would do? Would Jesus make a? No offense to the Christians out there. It's not a religious joke. It's more over like we're memeing the world right now. We're memeing everything. Everything's a meme. Mimetic warfare. I'm playing the meme. Meme life. You could tell this is deep in the podcast because I'm just starting to have fun now. But anyways, Doge, as I said a little bit earlier, it has this cyclical pattern of hitting the 1618. That's from this swing high back in 2013. Also, guys, remember, Doge is an OG. Like, and not only an OG, but it's an OG that's continually broken out into price discovery, unlike something like XRP, which was held down for 7 years. This went through 3 completed cycles already. So the only thing that has done this, I think, is technically Bitcoin. So that's another, like, I'm not joking right now. We're having our fun here and there, but just to remind the people here of our investment, of my investment thesis, it's that I see the results and I see this cyclical pattern playing out. And even in the last cycle, you see it had a double peak. I think this top was effectively when Elon went on SNL. So you could only imagine how infuriated everyone was when they started buying because they thought we would go higher. And like, guys, never, ever, ever get bullish on a popular event like that. Like, never. Don't fall for that shit. It also happened to the XRP community back in 2021 with the with the Wall Street Bets stuff going on. I need to take a drink of water, but remember Wall Street Bets, some stuff going on with AMC, GameStop was really big, and then XRP community wanted to have fun with it, and whatever whales orchestrated that to be a rug pull. They got everyone to go long, and they just liquidated a bunch of them. Classic move. And then we ended up going up much higher. And a lot of people thought that the rug pull that the Wall Street Bets people was doing was just going to sink us down to like the SEC lawsuit lows. And it wasn't. It was a fake out, and it was all technical. So it's really fascinating. You don't want to buy cultural moments like that unless you really know how to trade. So of course, there's plenty of moments where you can ride the wave, but yeah, I guess at the end of the day, there might be some honor left in this market. I'm hoping to maintain my reputation there. But Doge is a playful meme. It's not like a Boston Marathon bombing coin or whatever, the Third Reich coin or whatever crazy shit people are making now. So yeah, with this 1618 being cyclically played out, I think that's powerful. We got about a $3 to $5 Doge. And fuck, even from where we're trading at right now, is still another 800%. So anyone that was buying in throughout this bear market, like, you know, we're looking at a potential 3,000% play, which I think is something that can only be done in altcoins, obviously, or in very speculative penny stocks. But those penny stocks don't have a chart like this. I could guarantee you they don't have a chart like this. They don't just keep going up and up and up with higher lows and higher highs. They don't. This is one of the most beautiful charts you'll find. And again, it like hurts me to say sometimes, but it is. So yeah, I'm long Doge all the way until 3, 4, and then I'll reassess depending on the speed and velocity of this breakout. Let's go to XDC. I don't even remember when I invested in XDC. This was kind of a last minute. I don't know if I'm in profits in this one. I might not be, and that's fine. I'm totally cool with whatever this project's doing. It's about probably 1 to 2% of my portfolio, definitely venture capital. And from where it's trading at now, we have about 100, 200% up. So, but I do have the last cycle. We hit the 1618. So if that was to turn out this time around, that'd be glorious. You'd be looking at 1,000% move from here, which I think is actually manageable, depending on, again, the X. What do we call it? There has to be like a name for it. The X Festival, you know, like depending on what happens with X coins in general. I think XRP is leading the show. Again, if I see a $10 to $14 XRP, if XDC is not at almost $1, then something's broken, you know? So yeah, I'm pretty confident that this whole move right now is still sort of in accumulation territory, considering if you look at these wicks over here, this was about where we were getting rejected for about 250 days. So this is a powerful level to get above 7 to 8 cents. So I wouldn't sleep on it now. Although this is a very powerful trend line, and it's crazy that we were rejected off this trend line. Then we got above it. And then at the end of the bear market, we hit our selling climax on it. And then again, and then we broke through it with some rejections. Now I'm wondering, do we just gravitate straight to it and then also get rejected again? And this trend line just continues to snake up and up and up until, you know, infinity. I'm not entirely sure what XDC's updates have been, or if there's been any changes. I do think someone that was in XDC as like a dev or somebody working on the project, they were in it when it was called ZenFin Network, and they were in our community like 3 years ago. So it was super awesome to have somebody in that project. And that's not why I invested in it, by the way. I think I don't know what they're up to now. I'm not going to say their name or anything because that wouldn't be fair to them. But there was somebody in the XDC project that was a wolf. So it was really cool. They were really fascinated with my decoding and stuff. And then they changed to XDC Network. And yeah, the rest is what it is. But it doesn't have that allure like it had in the last cycle. The last cycle after the C19 crash, this thing did some crazy stuff. But the speed and velocity of getting back to the golden pocket, and this whole move right here, I think, is what we're moving into. So I expect chop in the golden pocket before it really rallies up. I can't really call it a buy. It's very speculative. It did well in the last bull run, but I don't want people over diversified. Okay, I don't think that's best for your portfolios. You don't need to have 25 positions like I have. Don't be me. It's hard to keep track of this shit. Okay, I'm looking for Multiverse, EGLD, the ticker that does not match the name at all. All right, a little trend line heavy on this chart, which is not my normal vibe, but this did have quite a recovery from the C19 crash. It is up 6,000% today, as opposed to, remember a little bit earlier when I was looking at the Algorand chart, it was trading like down here. This held its strength and structure over the years, and that's very nice to see. So I feel more confident investing in something like this. Now, also, this is still below the 236. So out of all the charts we've looked at so far, this is a buy. This still has 1,100% to the upside. Beautiful to see. So if this pulls off like what XRP did in the last cycle, or like what XLM or Monero or Dash or a couple of those OG projects that couldn't quite make it to new all-time highs and just stopped between the 786 to 888 fib, we're looking at 700%. So I gambled on this one for that kind of reason, is I don't need price discovery and I could still make quite a bit of ROI. And always set up your exit strategy in a way where you de-risk. And what de-risking means, and what's different about de-risking from profit taking, is de-risking takes away your initial investment. So all you're left with is house money. That's what I did with Bitcoin. I de-risked my Bitcoin just enough to get back my initial investment. And then I took all of that money and I put it into altcoins. And now I'm up way higher in those altcoin positions than I could ever be with Bitcoin, unless Bitcoin goes to 1 million a coin or some shit. But I knew the play, I knew the technicals, I knew the tax situation behind it. There was some tax loss harvesting involved. There was also some, capital gains that triggered, but that was what I wanted to do, what made the most sense for me. And it worked out perfectly. So That's the difference between de-risking and profit taking. I have not taken any profits on Bitcoin. I have not taken any profits on Ethereum. I haven't taken any profits on anything yet. And I likely will not de-risk on anything except for maybe Doge. I don't know, because it's a big position for me and I just want to capitalize. So if it makes it up to 4 or whatever, then I'll just take the money and run, but that's more up to me and my overall portfolio. So I don't want to de-risk a bunch of 1 to 2% positions, guys. So like some of you might be asking, why is he not going to de-risk everything? Well, because it's a 1 or 2% venture capital position. You know what venture capital is? It's money that you could throw away and bury in the backyard and you don't care what happens. It's money you throw in the fire and you don't give a shit if it goes to zero. So that's kind of the idea here. You throw $500 into something, it might make you 10 grand, it might go to zero, right? But when you risk big amounts of money in 10 to 15 to 20% or more of your allocation in your portfolio, you should consider de-risking it, because that means you put a lot of your actual capital into this game and you don't want to be the guy holding the bag if you made a miscalculation. So I hope that helps. That's probably a very educational thing for me to have shared. Anyways, MultiversX, an X coin, does not have black and white symbolism though, although it does have the black circle background kind of vibe similar to XRP. So let's see if there's any symbolic connections to that. But in general, I think this project will catch up to within its all-time highs, and that for me, a 700 or 800% move is awesome. No complaints. No complaints. XRP is still doing its thing. If XRP can close tonight above $2, let me see real quick. I'm just going to interject. Oh yeah, I mean, fuck, if it closes anywhere right now, it's what's the highest weekly? Yeah, that's fucked up. The highest weekly close ever for XRP was $2.78, and it immediately got rejected that week and entered a bear market. So it's like, yeah, that's a really messed up data set to work with. Like, it's not like Bitcoin where we have multiple cycles, Anyways, Chainlink. Anything above $2 for XRP on tonight's bi-weekly closes. Fucking crazy. Ooh, okay. I haven't looked at Chainlink in a minute, and we're back at this very critical level that I had marked off. And I had it marked off there for a reason, because it's been a level of concern. You can see the idea comes from all the way back in August 2020, right? We made it up to that level, and then we had our backup phase, which led us to the first selling climax. And that's effectively what this whole move is. Then when we got rejected off that same level after getting slightly above it, we went perfectly to the 236 fib. So that would have been the greatest time to get Link. It's already up 100%. And then from there, we have about a 500% move. So not as much ROI in this thing. Likely more in alignment with like the Solana basket of stuff, like higher market cap. You feel me? So this is more like an Ethereum / Solana play. In regards to ROI, it's not going to have that crazy face melting ROI because it's already done it. Chainlink already did it in the last cycle. It went up 25,000%. So right now, if we're able to make it to 100, that's 450%. If we're able to make it into the $250 level, which would be the 1618, it's about to also. Let me see real quick. 1,000%, yeah. So that level makes a lot of sense. Link had a bunch of decoding for this. Did I cover my exit strategy blueprint? I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly, but this is a long-term hold for me. I still have Link that I bought in the last not this bear market, but the last bear market. Link that I got right around here, actually. It was in May into June of 2020. It's when I bought my first Bitcoin. I became a whole coiner, and it was right there into that moment, sub $5 Link. I still have some. Oh wow, yeah. So it did return. So I guess at the end of the day, I could call it similar prices to the bear market, but I de-risked a bunch of 45 and 54, and this had to do with Gematria, and I didn't sell all of it, so I'm still holding on to some. It wasn't enough for me to care too much about. So looking forward to pretty much getting rid of all of that this cycle, even though it is a project I don't see going away. I think oracles are a technological layer to this ecosystem that are very important. I do think Chainlink is the category winner in that conversation. But again, if you're talking for ROI, the ROI here is similar to like an ETH or like a Bitcoin, and I'd rather just go with Bitcoin in that case. Maybe my way of saying that I've become more wiser as an investor and I seek to diversify less. And if I am going to diversify, it's just to have fun with the market, but I'm not going to do crazy shit with the 60 to 70% of my portfolio. I'm going to keep it with stuff that's illogical, it's rational, and it's stuff that I'll feel comfortable going to sleep at night. All right, let's go to Polkadot. This is going to be pretty much a similar analysis. I do think we probably have a little bit more ROI in the Polkadot play though. We're about 500% to prior all-time highs. And this is one of those projects that I would be surprised if it goes into deep price discovery. We'll have to see. I think in 2020, 2021, that ETH killer narrative got like memed to shit and now it's boring. You know what I mean? So anyone who was in crypto before 2020, I've been studying the crypto market before 2020. I wasn't the heaviest investor until 2020. But with that being said, every time I went deeper into the past, I kept being shilled this ETH killer thing. And it would be coins that some of them don't even exist today. Okay. Well, when we got around to this recent cycle, that whole thing got brought up again. Just again, for educational purposes, for those that are new to crypto. I don't believe in that. I don't think ETH is going to be dominated because the New World Order is who controls and manages ETH. Not Vitalik Buterin, not any famous technocrat that you've heard of or see them talk. It's ruled by the same people who are doing Bitcoin and managing Ripple. The people who tell Ripple jump, and then the people at Ripple say how high. The people at Binance, they tell jump, and the people at Binance say how high. That's who's running the show. It's not these people that are tweeting all day. It's not David Schwartz, okay? It's not Craig Wright. It's not Vitalik Buterin. It's also not Elon Musk. He's, again, a talking head for all of us to be entertained by, like a wrestler, like Hulk Hogan. That's what these people are. That's not me demeaning them. They have lots of money and influence and power. I say that in air quotes because I don't believe they have as much freedom as you or I have. We have freedom of being unknown and not popular. You could go to the grocery store and nobody's, bothering you. Meanwhile, these people can't go anywhere, and then people worship them. So who knows what the karmic residue on that reality is. But anyways, needless to say, I don't believe in this ETH killer narrative, but I think it was juiced in the last cycle and now it doesn't exist anymore. So that hype for that isn't there. And we're in a new kind of paradigm. We're moving into like AI and lots of gaming stuff, lots of virtual reality stuff. And that's where the energy's going. We don't even hear too much about NFTs anymore. So yeah, the Polkadot ecosystem is fascinating. There's a lot to probably break down in that, but I'm not going to waste anyone's time. Needless to say, I do think there's a chance for price discovery, but I don't think it's going to be a significantly higher price. So Polkadot is still a buy at this current price, but it's maybe not the most valuable player. Let's go to IOTA. I don't even remember where I got this project. Well, this is a spring, and this is good. Yeah, for people who are invested in Algorand, you're looking at a nearly identical chart. So I'm going to skip through this one, but I do have the Wyckoff labeled, so I'm going to push through that fast, and then we'll move through the list. But we do have buying climax to selling climax, automatic rally, followed by clean spring. And the next step is an SOS, and that pushes you to somewhere around $4. So again, probably in alignment with a $10 plus XRP, we'll see a $5 IOTA. And then price discovery is in the cards for this cycle. If we look at prior buying climax to top, it would be 200%. And if we look at from the prior alt season, which IOTA didn't really take a part in, to the 1618, it's about 700%. So that's very realistic, meaning this has a lot of room to go if we are to have a very powerful alt season. I just wouldn't bank on it, you know? So I'd be looking to at least the prior all-time highs in this analysis to keep it nice and simple and to not fall for the idea that price discovery must happen, okay? Because it does not need to happen. Look at the last cycle, proves it. Let's go to Cardano. Shockingly, one of my best investments. Shockingly. Okay, so we made it up to the we made it up to the 618, the golden pocket. We're kind of just kissing it right now, and I do like what I see here with the cyclical pattern of we had our spring, we came up to these red lines. These red lines were drawn around the 0.5 fib. So what I did was I drew these two red lines for this cycle around the 0.5 fib. Then you can see that after the initial run up, we had a backup phase. Here we had the backup phase. It's completed. We went deep this time. We went pretty much back to the lows of the bear market. Now it's popped about 250% and it's cleared these levels, which is very important. And I just want to show you that when we cleared these levels in the last cycle, which are also, you see this spike right here? I was considering that that's this spike this time around. That little like bull trap before breaking into the depths of the bear market. So it's similar, just more volatility back then. Well, I feel like once we broke through those red lines is when this party really got started. And you could see that Cardano within about 2 months, so 56 days, got back to all-time highs after breaking. So that would be like, imagine 56 days from now is the end of January. I think we'll be in price discovery by then. We won't just be at all-time highs because likely as we enter the first to second, let's just say second week of December, because we have to make it past that first week after the new moon, we'll likely see some craziness for things like Ethereum and Solana, because if Solana breaks new all-time highs, you're going to hear people screaming about that in the Solana gang, you know, then you're going to hear the Ethereum people going, yeah, you know. So I think the timing of it means Cardano is probably going to be at $5 by the month. Like I would say in January, it would make sense to be at the $5 range in January. Now, this is a very speculative parallel channel. I don't know if this is reality. Very, very speculative. Very speculative. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If we hit a $14 Cardano, the only reason that could be is because now there's some changes in who's the major holders of this thing. But I think very much in the last cycle, it did well for sure. But you see what it did. It only got slightly higher than prior all-time highs. This is the thing I was telling you to watch out for, potentially with Solana this cycle, like only going up to $420 per Solana. And then everyone's like, oh, we're just going to keep going. And that's no, it's not how it works. So the ROI potential in certain things, depending on energetics and depending on symbolism and this, that, and the third, of course, you always buy in a bear market. But when you're starting to play this late in the game, that's where it becomes a little tougher to expect more, right? So can Cardano actually have the full move to the golden ratio, just like in alignment with the last cycle and how it never happened? If this is the one, then sure, this is the one. And that would probably be the one coupled with the $15+ XRP. I mean, it would be fucking crazy to see Cardano hit $14 before XRP hits $14 is another thing to say. I'm not sure if I trust such a thing unfolding. Now we're on Theta. Theta is also, I think, a buy. Anything under the 0.5 and about 500% away from all-time highs. That's amazing. That means even if we only made a slight new all-time high with this, we're looking at least 700 to 800% from where we're currently at. That's beautiful in my opinion. Entertaining $100 Theta is tough. It had an amazing cycle in the last bull run, you know, but entertaining more is it's rough, 20,000%. So I don't know if this is going to do it the same way again, but I do love this. The fact that we have this red trend line across the screen. we were playing around with it in the final phase of the bull run. Sorry, in the final phase of breaking out into the parabolic stage of the bull run. And it came and back tested that same level around 50 cents in our bear market. So could this be posturing to push us into a next crazy phase like this? Well, considering we measured off the same point, it would just be like getting back to all-time highs. So anyone who bought the bottom on Theta, you're getting a fucking 2,800% move. Yeah, how much more could you want? You know? So at this stage, I still think it's a buy though, because it's not trading at the golden pocket or higher. I would not wait too much longer on this sort of thing, but also no need to put this in your portfolio unless you really understand what it is. And I do think this is a long-term hold. And the reason why is because this is your C19 crash. These are the lows of your bear market, as opposed to what I showed you with IOTA and Algorand, which were trading at like the same levels or even lower than the March 2020 crash. So this is more confident for me. This will continue going higher and have higher lows into the next bear market. Let's go to TFUEL, also a buy. Also looking good. Yeah, about 700%. You know, anything like these governance tokens gets to ride the wave of the gains of the main project, such as Theta in this case, and you're just speculating on the governance token. You're not really playing it any more philosophically than that. Let's get over to VeChain. Oh, VeChain also a buy. Like VeChain is also at this level where below the 0.5 fib, below the golden pocket, below some very critical resistance levels, and also below the technical February and March highs. So I like that too. These are kind of like the last minute buys that we're getting before the show gets wild. So about a 500% move to the upside, and this broke into price discovery in the last cycle. So why couldn't it this time? And it did effectively get close to the 1618. So a $1 VeChain is very possible this cycle. And I think that's a big psychological level to accomplish. So, you know, a 2,000% move from here is big. That's about max what is possible on some of these bigger market cap and famous projects such as VeChain. I wouldn't expect too much more than that. It's tough for me too. Again, we'll reassess. Don't want to make this so much more about the exact exit targets rather than just the opportunity that you have right now, whether something is still discounted and has room to go, or if it's something that's a little bit on the high side and maybe not the most optimal buy. That's kind of the point of today's podcast. So VeThor, it's the same exact story. It's just, it's in recovery off of the recent mid-cycle correction, which was very dramatic. And now you can see with the ROI potential of like 800%, that's something I'm confident about, that it'll get to $2 2 cents to 3 cents again, because that was about where it launched off of very poor timing, by the way. But anyways, we at least have been there and before, and we've retested it, and getting back there again should not be too hard generally, just with the way the liquidity spills over. So yeah, we're looking at about 870%. Jupiter. This is a very small position for me. This is not something that I'm too confident in. It's more for fun. It was just fun for the fact that this was the year of Jupiter. Obviously, this project just launched like in the changeover to the year of the dragon. We had some green symbolism in this. I mean, if you bought pre-sale or you got in this thing super early, then obviously it's great. I had a couple weeks trading at about 45 cents. Right now it's up 150 or so percent. Not the craziest play, but let's just go over the technicals. So we have a correction here, mid-cycle correction. We're now coming up to the golden pocket. So what you want to see is a weekly close above the 702, about $1.35. And then shortly after that, we should be retesting the current peak at around $1.84, or we'll get rejected at the 702. Well, because of where we're at right now in this particular cycle, I do think that we're likely to see new all-time highs in this by January, like everything else. And these are some of the levels that I've marked off. I haven't done any decoding on this, so naturally the 1618 is sitting somewhere around 4, And from where we are right now, that would be like the least you would hope for. And the ROI is just really not there on the technicals. And plus, you have such a limited chart history, very limited data set. So it's very tough to entertain very, very high prices because the fib pool is so small. Yeah. And then we have the 4618 somewhere around 7. So yeah, I think that's kind of the purpose of marking off this 7-ish target. Keep that in mind. Let's go over to sand. Now, this is one of those plays that like we have so much room to the prior all-time high. So it's about 1,000%. And it recently, last week, what did it do? A 120% move in a weekly candle. Incredible. I do think that this is probably one of those plays that it's an absolute degen play. You're just hoping for it to recover back to prior all-time highs, but the ROI is on your side. So with like 1.5 to 2% of your portfolio, it's not a huge loss if it was to go to 0. But in general, it's more likely to just rise with the tides. So somewhere about 570-ish to 6 is where perhaps you could start to see the rejections once it could clear $1.30. So we can quickly see it move from $1.30 up to 5 in like a week or two. Very, very possible. Now, sand is like a similar play to, I think, AMP. I believe I've talked about that as well. And there's a couple others. Let's go to Cosmos. Cosmos indent with the same logo. Very fascinating. So here we have it with the spring in Atom is completed. And now we're at the 236. So what does that mean? Anything that's around the, well, now it's probably a little bit higher. Yeah. I'm adjusting the fib for you all to see. We are making lower lows and lower highs. So this thing is still in a downtrend. Not so bueno. But we're moving into an alt season. So this is more accumulation. 400% up. This is a buy. Very speculative, in my opinion, based on this horrible chart. But hey, I mean, again, you're talking about just kind of venture capital at this point. And you know what? In the next, what I'm investing in special, I'll probably leave out a lot of these extra projects just because of the time sensitivity of this one and getting it out before we absolutely go ballistic. I thought it would be important to just cover everything. And if I found any gems along the way, share it. But it's going to get a little repetitive, you know, because at the end of the day, the charts, they have similar structures and the market's moving based on its market cap placement. Let's go to Polygon. It's somewhere. MATIC. So MATIC also had a spring. It looks very similar to the last chart. And based on this move up, got about 380%. This is not my favorite investment. I have to be very, very honest. I'm not happy with this investment as much as a lot of other things that I've done. I don't feel like I'm losing on this investment. I think I will bank on it. I will leave this play profitably, but I'm just not so happy with this in general, and I'm not sure about the future of this Polygon / MATIC Pol ecosystem. And I don't even personally really like NFTs. So yeah, it's like, again, coming back to what Warren Buffett teaches, like, don't get into shit just because, you know, have a reason. And if you don't even really like or stand by a lot of the things that this project is a part of, then maybe don't get invested, especially if you're 20 or so altcoin positions. So I'm not like bearish on MATIC. I think even the shittiest shit coins can do very well in an alt season. And I'm not calling this a shit coin, by the way. Like, this is an amazing last bull run that it had, right? Amazing. Very limited data. But some things are a one-hit wonder. You know, you can't deny that. Some things are a one-hit wonder. And is MATIC going to turn out to be one? Maybe. You know, that's why it has to be venture capital. You don't want to put stuff like this with such a limited history as the #1 spot in your portfolio. That would just be dumb. Unless you have money to lose. So I'm not ultra confident that this thing will have price discovery, but depends on the velocity of the overall alt season. Just kind of wanted to share some of my thoughts on that, though. Perhaps appreciated or not. All right, Propy, one of the worst charts I've ever looked at ever in my life. Yeah, ridiculous. This thing is a ride from hell to heaven, back to hell again. Just unbelievable swings. We're looking at the weekly chart, by the way. And I identified the structure that was playing that kicked in at pretty similar prices. And the way that it just sold off perpetually is nearly identical. And then we had the pivot, and we've been bullish so far. So we'll have to see, because right now we're kind of like here. I don't think Propy's going to take a shit again. But I'm just letting you know, like, this structure is not human beings. This is bots. This is bots trading right here. It's so obvious. So Propy, some of you might know, this is like tokenization of real estate. I do believe that that's the future. Many believe that this is the category winner. I still think it's incredibly speculative. I still think the chart is horrifying. Small position for me in the grand scheme of things, but just wanted to play the game. I don't really think there's a benefit to us becoming more like technocratic and everything becoming tokenized. I think that's very much the slave system. But at the end of the day, that's the system that's moving in, whether you like it or not, just like credit cards moved in, and just like iPhones with tap to pay have moved in, etc. Just like blockchain has moved in. So I think this technology is interesting. A little venture capital position for me. Not going to get too emotionally invested in it, though. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to finish off. We have GALA. Where are you at? Boom. I believe I talked about this at the very beginning of the podcast, but we'll just quickly wrap it up. We have GALA still sitting below the 382 fib. That's a buy to me. That still has 1,800% to go. So if you pull up any charts that look like this, where if you measure from from where we're at to prior all-time high, you're getting something that's like 700% or more, it's kind of still in an accumulation zone. And you can see, look at this candle right here, guys. This is the weekly candle open, okay? I just want to show you that we moved up that whole amount in 1 week. We completed this move of 3,000% in 70 days. Can this happen again? Sure. Has it done it before? Yes. You see, it did it before. So why can't it do it again? Does it need to break out into crazy $10 target? No, it doesn't need to, because you're able to, with what it's done in the past and by quickly looking at the chart, see that it's went up to the level slightly below $1. I wouldn't get too much more caught up in it after that. Now, for me, if I see a move like that, I'll probably de-risk if the speed of it happens, at a quick velocity. But if we start to see overall the whole altcoin market starts looking insane, then of course I'll hold. It's venture capital. Venture capital is where you get those 5,000, 10,000, 20,000% moves. So when you have very small positions, you could be, a little bit more free about it, because you're turning a little bit into a lot. Quick on Zilliqa. Zilliqa also very, very speculative. I would not tell anyone to go buy this. This is a position that I bought in the last bull run. I did very well on, and I had a sell order. It's kind of like a famous moment for me, because I had a sell order here on Binance that triggered at the absolute top on this spike. It was kind of a isolated event to Zilliqa, some sort of update. I was able to get out. I forgot, probably somewhere around 83, 85% of my overall position in insane profits. And then I did buy back a little bit in the recent bear market, but very speculative, not something I would recommend. Although it did come back to the prior all-time high, and it did it on that spike that I just showed you. And from there to, from where we are to those levels is like 700 to 800%. So I wouldn't recommend this right now. This is like not maybe a distraction. Okay, I'm just being honest. All right, we've made it into the glory days. What a hell of a podcast. And we have 800 people with us. I'm looking at the chat right now. I'll put up a more exciting screen. The portfolio / XRP God candle that you all are like, yeah, he did it. He finally woke up from the 6-year slumber. All right. Clementine, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I wasn't anticipating this to go over 2 hours, but hey, it happens, right? If you're and also, any mods that are here with us, if it's too long for you, don't worry. I don't wanna take up any more of your time. This is being recorded, and I don't want to hold you guys hostage here in the comments section. I knew this would be longer, that's why I asked for a 2-hour window. And this will probably be my last What I'm Investing in special, where we're talking about opportunities. The next ones moving forward are probably going to be a lot less projects, and it's going to be more about taking profits, you know? So that'll be in like a month and a half from today. I'm just going to scroll through the list. I'm going to try to find some questions. A Train says, how is it that I went from 20 to 100K and I don't feel anything? It's because you're a wolf. You're not like, oh man, you know, but I got to say though, oh, by the way, shout out to Afghanistan in the house. Shit, Watermelon Daddy. That's crazy. Much love. I didn't even know I had anyone watching over there. That's really cool. Anyways, when it comes to my ways, I've had somebody reach out to me recently and they were like, Waters, I'm making so much money in this market. I've been following your channel for like whatever, 3 years. And I'm just not happy though about it. And I'm like, yeah, but are you happy about life? Like, you shouldn't be emotionally tied to money. Like, but it's funny, some people like want to be happy about the gains. And I'm like, don't you realize that's the reason why last market cycle sucked for you? Is because you were emotional about the money. Here we're just chilling, bro. It's just fucking money. Like, money is energy, guys. Like, it comes to you when you allow it to come to you. But like, imagine you're with a partner, right? And I know I'm like philosophical waters right now, but just for the sake of educational moment, it's like in a relationship. You notice the most problems you have in a relationship are when you try to control the other person, right? Well, that's not a relationship. That's an experiment when somebody's enforcing controls. That's why when you experiment, you have controls, you have variables. You feel me? When you remove the instrument of control and you allow it to be what it is, you have the thing we call love. Love is light, infinite consciousness. Okay. It's not that I'm trying to get you to be like down in the dumps as you're approaching Lambo money. It's that I just don't want you to be so emotional about this, because that's what gets people into some shaky situations, let's just say. All right. I'm looking through. Much love over to the UK. Yeah, Dustin, from now on, you just got to change all of your socials to Elron. Isn't there a crypto called Elrond? I think they might have changed their ticker. Okay, I got a question from D. Freundlich. I don't know how to say this. Maybe I did. You said, when is the right time to move crypto to the exchanges for setting exit strategies? Any thoughts on executing best practices for exiting the market via various target ranges? I would say sooner than later, but please know everything I'm about to get into with answering these questions directly. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I believe you must practice safety protocols. And in my opinion, waiting till the last minute to try to send money from a hardware wallet to an exchange, or the other way around, or try to unstake your crypto and then send it to an exchange at the perfect time, like, that's going to get very complicated. So what I would say is, if you have stuff to de-risk, get that on an exchange soon. If you have profits to take, or if you're in venture capital, stuff that's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4% of your portfolio, stuff you're not planning on de-risking, but you definitely want to make sure you sell it all, right? Because it's the type of project that could go up 4,000%, but then lose 99%. That's the shit. Just keep on an exchange. What's the point of racking your brain with sending it in between hardware wallets all the time, right? So I'm sure you could resonate with that. Now, if you're somebody with a multi-6-figure portfolio and you have like 2 Bitcoin and you want to keep 1 Bitcoin forever, then keep all that Bitcoin in a hardware wallet. If you're somebody that's a long-term believer in Ethereum for whatever reason, and you have a big portfolio with 20 ETH in it, maybe keep 15 in the hardware wallet and keep 5 on the exchange, or keep like 2 around for any transaction fees or whatever you have going on in MetaMask. Or yeah, I hope that helps. Thank you, Clementine, for the reminder. I know you did this multiple hours ago. Everyone's excited about XRP. Carla, I appreciate you. I kind of wanted to make this the best possible red pill I could ever make. I hope everyone at least kind of feels the same. Shout out to Abitha. That's right, 37% move for Bitcoin. Crazy, absolutely wild. What is your sign to sell and start the DCA process? So when it comes to selling, I went through it all. It's pretty much we need to be in over-exaggerated levels of euphoria. We need to see a lot of greed in the market. We want to see people like Larry Fink showing up on, TV again every single day telling you to buy Bitcoin when it's like $250,000. We want to see people like Elon start shilling Doge every day in a tweet. Like that's kind of when we get ready. And that'll be coupled by the price. But also TA is everything in my opinion. So I do all of my personal selling based on my technical analysis. And also, just for those that missed out on that Black Friday sale I had going on, I am keeping it live throughout the rest of the weekend just due to popular demand. I had so many people reaching out, talking about getting paychecks in like late Friday night into Saturday, living in other time zones. So I decided it's just going to be kept open through Cyber Monday. So if anyone wants to get any of my courses, it's still available. Biggest sale of the year. Likely the biggest sale we'll have all the way until next Black Friday, a year out. So this is a great time to consider any of that stuff. And my exit strategy blueprint, as I explained earlier, it is timeless. It doesn't matter when it was filmed. It could be used for any altcoin you're interested in. It's teaching you a system that could be applied to today's market. And I think it's pretty much some of my best work alongside my crypto decoding blueprint. So I brought that up a couple times throughout today just because it's very relevant to where we are right now, and some of the ideas and theories. So I pretty much go over some of the theoretical concepts that I have for de-risking and profit taking in that. And regarding starting the DCA process, that's a long ways out, brother. Long ways out. There's no need for us to entertain that right now. We need to keep ourselves focused on one step at a time. All right. Like I can answer your question, but it's just like it's really not helpful. Like we want to put the energy into step one, right? Think about it that way, because we don't want to make, if you're the person, we don't want to make the same mistakes you made last time. Not to say you did, by the way. I'm not speaking directly to hooping. I'm just saying in general. Take it one step at a time, and you'll avoid a lot of tripping and fall. It's like trying to learn how to run before you learn how to crawl. Love Stonk says you're my Warren Buffett. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm really appreciative that you invested in my art. It really means the world to me. All right, I guess I said something funny because you got a bunch of comments of you guys laughing. Matt Ball, I appreciate you hanging out with us today, brother. Hope you're doing amazing. I'm just looking through some of the chat. I'm trying to find some questions. There's a lot of things that look like questions written in lowercase. It's hard to tell. Hey, Love Stonks, in regards to my live investment updates, I won't be putting those on Patreon as often just because of it's not as user friendly. And like if I'm not around, I'm traveling or have something going on, then I want to be able to get to you as fast as humanly possible. And the best way is just through Discord, because it'll be like a text update whenever I sell. So with that being said, I will, though, if I do like a big sell order, you know what I mean? Like if I sell like Bitcoin, ETH, Doge, something in the top, XRP, that's 66% of my portfolio, then I will definitely try my best to make sure that I update everyone on Patreon and Discord. It's just like that's the one thing that's tough for me to do. I'm only one person, you know, and I can't be just glued to the screen all day. Jacob B83. This is great. It's not the usual comment I read, so I want to read it. They said, "Not going to lie, I'm I'm assuming you said I'm in enough profit to just sell most and walk away. 3 years trying to stay patient still. I don't want to see it all go down from where I'm at, LOL, but still waiting." You know, see, here's the thing, Jacob, like, and this is not to put you on the spot, but to be helpful. All right. If you feel like you have enough profits right now to sell most and walk away, but you're still like unsure, it's probably because you don't have an exit strategy. So I highly recommend you develop one, because what you could realize is at least a place to sell most of your hard-earned money that you've invested in the market, and then just keep the rest for house money if that's what you'd prefer, right? Because if you put 5, 10, whatever amount of 10 grand, whatever in the market, well, it's fucking awesome to sell and get your 10K back and then just be still in a portfolio that has 20 or 30 or 40K in it, right? If you're up 300, 400, 500% or whatever. I mean, fuck, right? You might as well just play the game. Some people, it's a beneficial thing to just get all the stress out. I went over the full moon and the new moon stuff earlier. Stefan says you're the true top G. How could I be the top G when what's his name? Fucking what's that guy? Shit. Andrew Tate. Like, how can I be the top G when Andrew Tate's the top G? Oh man, there's nothing like a man that owns a cam girl website and then makes all of his money from that and then starts scamming all of his supporters. I'm not sure what's going on here. A Train, you gotta take a deep breath, homie. You know? Marvin says XRP is leading alt season WTF. Yeah, that's kind of how it went in 2017. Like, it's either the first to really move in a huge spike or it's the last, you know, or both in the same cycle, which is kind of what it did back in 2020, actually. Adam West, good question. I'm not sure. XRP is it's been so boring and now it's finally exciting and I'm unfazed, you know? So like a part of me wants to be like sadistic to myself and just hold it to like extremely uncomfortable levels, you know, to where like I'm like, oh, I have to sell this thing, you know? So maybe at 25 or 24 or 23 is when I'll feel that way. I'm not sure, man, you know, to be completely honest, but I got to admit, I think technicals are very important in this cycle. So if we are to make it to 24 or close to that, like anything above 20, that would be irresponsible for me to not take profits with where I'm positioned. You understand? It would just be irresponsible. I'd be making so much profit. And then remember what happened in the last cycle. Let me zoom out because you guys have been looking at that enough. You know, right here, this move, this 60%, or what was it, 80%? Sorry, guys. Let me just quickly show you. Yeah, okay, say 60%. If we were to have that 60% correction there, maybe I'll buy back in. Maybe. That would be the only time I would get fancy like that. Right now, no fucking way. But if I was already up that much, then maybe. Maybe I'll take out enough to just secure myself for whatever other vision I have. You know, like for me, I'm a big proponent of a vision. Like, what are you going to do with all this money, guys? Like, that's I don't want to stoke you all up right now and make you promises, but like I think this market's been showing us signs of like, you know, there's a lot of money being made right now. And that's what Waters Above University is going to be all about. So I'm so excited to launch that because it's going to be the perfect timing, you know, right there before Chinese New Year. So let's just hope I don't work myself to death before I launch that. Let me look through. Couple of people asking questions about my website, course stuff. If you're ever having any issues logging or accessing a course you've purchased in the past, I want you to go to watersabove.com/FAQS, like facts, frequently asked questions, watersabove.com/FAQS, and that will be a troubleshooting video. It's only a couple minutes. Definitely watch that. It'll show you how to regain access to your course. It's very simple. You just go to the login at the top right of my website. I prefer you use Safari browser, and I prefer you use a desktop or laptop. No VPN turned on, because that creates some problems for people. This is a global community. People that are supporting the work out in Finland. Some people are supporting the work out in Afghanistan. Some people are in Israel. Some people are in Australia, So there's some VPN issues that come up sometimes with IP address stuff. And then once you log in, you just go to programs and it'll be there. H-Bomb said, funny name. H-Bomb says, is it better to hold long-term versus buying in and out with the cycles if holding Bitcoin from 100? You've been holding Bitcoin since it was $100 fucking dollars? I don't know if you mean this. Do you mean that you invested $100? I mean, if you've been in Bitcoin since it was $100, like, what's the... Go buy a Lambo and invite me over your house for a whiskey. I don't know. What are you asking this question for? Fly me out to your private island that you own. No, I'm not sure what you're asking. If this is theoretical, or you're saying if holding Bitcoin from 100 until now versus buying and selling with the market highs and then buying back during. This is really just strategy. Okay, so I think you're being more theoretical about this. It's all just strategy. I think on Bitcoin, we're getting to the point where you might want to be a little bit more fancy if you do want to make massive amounts of ROI on Bitcoin. But here's the thing. We can't deny the power of what Bitcoin's been able to do in these cycles. For instance, from this low right here at 15, 16K to where we are now is a 500% move. That's fucking unbelievable, right? For the fact that we didn't have to endure a 99% correction like you saw with most altcoins. And most of those altcoins have actually still been perpetually selling off back to the markets, the bear market lows, all the way until this recent August, and even in September and October. So yes, you want to be more fancy on the Bitcoin play, but it depends on a lot of things, such as your overall net worth. Like if you're a massive multi-million dollar portfolio situation, like why sell Bitcoin then? Like if you're like at the fuck you money stage, then owning a bunch of Bitcoin is like owning a bunch of properties. I would look at it that way, except it's a lot easier to play that game than it is real estate. And there's way more ROI in Bitcoin. Not trying to deter anyone from doing real estate. I'm just being honest. Oh, great question. Guitar Gods TV. How about I address this though in the future? Because right now I think we need to enterprise discovery across the board for like things that are in the top. Like I would like to see Solana, ETH, Binance. Definitely like to see XRP. Like when those start breaking out into price discovery, then I could be maybe a little bit more dialed in with the answer to this question. But it's an awesome question. I'm going to quickly read it and then I have to move on. But you said, what coins, if any, can defy the March 14th end of the bull run and continue to grow? Can Theta do this with the partners of Google? So, yeah, I love you've read up on things. Great. It's awesome. You should invest in shit that you know about. So this is a great question. And then you said, and when released on Coinbase, thanks. Yeah, I know. That's something I've been waiting for, man. I've been waiting for Coinbase to just fucking list this project already. I think that'll be helpful. We'll see. But yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's room for that theory to work specifically for Theta. But like I talked about it a little bit earlier, I brought this up with Solana and how it did very well past the first lunar eclipse of the lunar cycle, which would be March 14th. No, this is not true. I am not your leader. I am just a really good cup of coffee in the morning. No milk, no sugar. You have to drink it black. Jerry, I appreciate you, brother. I hope you're having an amazing weekend. Tina says, if not buy Bitcoin now, then what? Well, Tina, this is more for depending on your situation. The reason I'm not recommending to buy Bitcoin right now is because I feel it's sort of irresponsible to buy an asset that's here when maybe it could go up to 400,000 max. In this cycle, that would be the ultimate move. And that's what, 400%. And you still have to equate for the fact that, we can see a 400% move in XRP in the next 2 months. Well over 400% move. And then you still have a lot more room to catch up to like be where Bitcoin would be at this cycle today, all things considered. I know that's kind of a complicated answer, but it's my way of saying the buying days for Bitcoin are kind of behind us. I think Bitcoin gave us a second chance when it dipped to 49 back in August, but still altcoins were still the move to accumulate. Bitcoin really needs to be bought at the end of a lunar cycle. That's what I teach. And that's why I'm sure you guys could find clips or you could find a video specifically around this time where I was warning about the April 2023 solar eclipse, because that was the start of our solar cycle. So anyone that took that seriously, you were getting in Bitcoin sub 20K or at least around 20K. I think I got my first Bitcoin back on the buyback around 23. I don't remember exactly. Something like that. It doesn't really matter though. I don't think the days of buying Bitcoin are here with us anymore. It's just me being honest. And I rather focus on altcoins, which there's so many. Tristan, regarding mid-20s, are you talking about for XRP? You said shake my head. I don't know, man. I think if we're not happy with a $25 XRP, then what's wrong with us? There's something wrong with it's like, when will we be grateful then? But maybe you were just saying that in a good way. I don't know. It's a joke that I made, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. I said, watch, if XRP goes into $15+, people are still going to want more, And it's like, that's just crypto for you. Victor, well, there is a couple of examples of XRP being an absolute savage, and I think one good one, Victor, is back in the last cycle when we watched XRP make 1,000% move after the start of the SEC case. Wouldn't you call that pretty amazing? Now, I agree with you very much so that it's a safe investment, because I don't think Ripple is going away. I think they're part of the system, and I think they're part of the future of the system. I don't think they're the thing everyone thinks they're going to be, but that's another conversation. Needless to say, it's big gains for sure, brother. Very big gains. It's about trading it though. I'm hoping that at least in this cycle, that might start to change. And I will be the first one to say it when that day comes. But until then, it's been a trader's coin. Elevated Mindset says, I don't see a second run type thing in 2025. We only have 3 lunar eclipses, not enough time. Well, first of all, you're very, this is very nice to hear that you've been studying the lunar cycle that's to come. I tip my hat to you. The fact that I'm not sure if you got my crypto decoding blueprint, but whatever. If you did, then awesome, because you're already ahead of the game, brother. And I think that's dope. If you don't think that this is a possibility, then at least you have your own way of looking at things. And remember what I said about a double cycle peak is that it's very theoretical. And you follow this up with saying now 175 is too much. Now I don't kind of agree with that. I think 174K Bitcoin before the end of this cycle is very, very possible. I know it's hard to, but I would not sleep on Bitcoin, man, especially after this. Look at this monthly chart. Double top and then 8 months of back testing. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. I think that setup is insane. What we didn't accomplish in the last cycle, I think we're going to make up for it this time around. And I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. Like, I could care less at this point. Like, I've been successful with Bitcoin since the beginning of my trading career. And whether it goes to 150 or 175 or 200 or 300, at this point, it doesn't really matter. I have long-term Bitcoin bags. And all of my statements lately have been really to just tell people maybe Bitcoin isn't the move right now as an investment. And it's because, again, we do expect rejections at levels that are impossible to know, right? Like, nobody knew Bitcoin would go from a fucking penny to $20,000 and then go down to 3 and then go back to $60,000. Like, this isn't a crazy asset. Luckily enough, here we've been able to figure some things out, but it's a very, very tough thing to just deny, like, and straight up say, nah, this X insert price is too much. I just think don't do that with Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin is like literally every time you doubt it, it's one of those people, it's one of those like entities that's like, let me show you. And then it turns fucking Super Saiyan, you know? Dallas Woody says, I think you're missing it. XRP will be the dollar. I completely disagree with this. Not even a little bit of agreement on this idea. But it's a cool theory. And it'd be great if you want to share your theory on this with us in the Discord. I'm not going to, shadow ban any of that stuff. Like, have fun. We're a highly theoretical place. I like to have fun with theories, but I do not believe in this at all. Okay, I'm just going to make it through a little bit more. Got some questions, hopefully. LC says I could afford therapy after this. Woo, that's funny as hell. Kane, I hope I got a Doge squeezed in there before you had to leave. Mina, we covered IOTA. Marco asks, are we going to have a new moon correction? I believe I answered this at the very early stage of the live stream. I looked into DOT today. When do you guys think XRP is going to hit $3? It was up 280% last month. Oof, that's gnarly. 280%. Sheesh. Somebody said Coinbase is down. Of course it is. It's always down on days like this. I believe I also gave a little bit of commentary about Dent earlier too. Oh, yes. Taurus Mobius says there's an AI Jesus in Switzerland. Oh, man, that sounds like a good album name. I'm going to make that my first album name, AI Jesus in Switzerland. That's so good, dude. I love you guys. Super funny. No, I definitely didn't say that. I probably said that. Dallas, yeah, man, I don't know, like, how new are you to crypto, or are you somebody that's been here for a while? I love when people have this all or nothing mentality, though, because I think it does add some balance here. Here we're too neutral, like we're too balanced, you know? So it's like sometimes we need a little bit of that extreme to It's like putting hot sauce on your food, you know? Anything that was missed or you're asking me to revisit, guys, it's going to be recorded. So this is all recorded. It's going to be saved. Don't worry. It'll be available for playback later. Mario, much love, brother. Hope you and the 3T Warrior Academy are having an amazing weekend. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, Adi. I appreciate that a lot. Eric Schroeder, appreciate you. All right, looks like everyone wants me to cover a quant. Oh my God, I was going to talk about this recently, but I couldn't do the live stream yesterday. So this is kind of like, the makeup. I am so disappointed. No, I shouldn't talk about it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Too many people are just going to get so triggered. So whatever. Hold the line, Waters. Okay. This is great. This is a nice, big, long-term accumulation range. Very classic. Very similar also to this drop down to sort of the lows that we saw with Polygon, with MATIC. These charts look very similar. Let me look up Polygon real quick. Shit almost looks like the same, right? Yeah, it's pretty fucking similar. Peak in December, drop in June, peak in February. So this peaked in September, dropped in June, and then it peaked in October. Like the structure is very, very fascinating how it came up to the 702 and everything. And then it dropped down through the 382 into the 236 near the lows. Very similar to MATIC. Obviously, MATIC made a spring, though. It went a little bit deeper. So this chart's looking a little healthier in general, but the chart also doesn't have much prior chart history, which it might actually, because some charts do. It's just TradingView doesn't have them all. But this is fine. We're looking at about a 300% move to prior all-time highs, so maybe not an ROI monster. It looks good. Yeah. Let me quickly check in with the chat really quick though. Yeah, man, I really don't want us to forget what crypto was always about, and I think that I've said this once, and I think some people will disagree with me, and that's okay. I want you to, actually. I want to be challenged on this. But I think if I presented all the facts, it would be hard to challenge what I'm about to get into. But I think the XRP situation over the past 3 to 4 years, everything that's transpired since the SEC lawsuit, it's opened up a whole new belief system around crypto, where we started for the first time to care about politicians. We started caring about judges. Like, name a time in crypto where we had a famous judge. Well, this time we did with Annalisa Torres. Then we had Jeremy Hogan, this attorney. Like, why does this stuff have to be a part of our world? I thought crypto was about like sovereignty and not the system. Like, I thought it was about not the system. No, I have nothing negative to say about this Jeremy guy or the judge, Annalisa Torres. I don't know who they are, nor do I care. And it is what it is. And I'm happy if people are able to make money and put food on their table. So if that's the way it's done for them, then congratulations for them. But I just think this was the first moment where we watched court jesters, attorneys, lawyers, and all of these people that are not supposed to have any say or control in this world of crypto. They became famous, like superstar celebrities. And we gave them so much power, and we started to use them as the blame game, or we would now worship them. So Annalisa Torres, when she finally made some decisions, we're like, yeah, now she's cool. But then before we didn't like her. Now Gary Gensler's fired, so we're happy now. But before we hated Gary. And then, like, you see, it's just a never ending. And then everyone in the XRP community is pro Trump, but then Chris Larson sending all these millions of dollars donations to Kamala Harris. There's clearly a political side to this XRP thing. And Quant just went through a cultural moment, I suppose. First of all, do I think it's smart for Quant to have left X and to have done it the way that they did? No, but like, I'm not their PR, manager. My issue with it is how quickly people started getting triggered by their political side that they play on. Because it's like, wait, well, don't you see why when Chris Larson was donating all these millions of dollars, you were calling it like a 5D chess move, even though he's like supporting what you call the beast system. And then Trump wins and the price goes up, and now you're happy for Trump because the market goes up. And then Quant basically comes out that they're liberals, and now you're mad at Quant. It's like, what a shit show. It's like how children act, right? Like, tag you're it. Like, it's kind of it's just bullshit. It's childish bullshit. And I think everyone needs to be called out for acting like this. I think everyone needs to realize that this is all a script. We live in a matrix, a simulated reality, and everything that's happening is illusions to distract you from your investment thesis and for you to be able to enjoy this process of investing. And what it does is it keeps you glued to the screen and the drama. And that's all I've realized. So I stay away from it all. Yeah, this quant chart is fine. I don't think it matters if they leave X. I think we had a week of conservatives and people that believe on the other side of the polarity that this was a stupid move for them. I think market go up because Bitcoin go up. That's how it works. I said the same thing about XRP. For all the people that thought the SEC case mattered, I've proven so many times in undeniable ways that it has nothing to do with the SEC case. The price that we're seeing right now has everything to do with Bitcoin in price discovery. Period. End of story. All right, family, we've made it to 3 full hours. I love you guys. Let me see if I could just find like one final question. Brian Zane says, how about Axie Infinity? Is it it's a shit coin, but invest a little bit if you want a lot of ROI. These are the projects that are going to have a lot of ROI, just recovering back to the prior cycle peak. Okay, this is a good question. Right here. AAS says, do you expect to see any resistance or pullback for XRP at the macro all-time high of 330, considering we have had much resistance at the local? We have not had much resistance at the local high. Okay, this is a cool way to wrap up today's podcast. Great question. So we're looking at this chart right now. I'm going to zoom in for you all, and you'll see we're shortly going to approach the 888 fib. And usually after we close a new all-time high above the a new daily close above the 888, coupled with breaking above this phase 3, which I would call an automatic rally, that's when we would call this a SOS, a sign of strength. And then shortly after that, we retest prior all-time highs. And now, given that we only have like, it'll be fun to show you this while we're filming. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 daily closes above the level we're trading at now. 6. So we have so limited data, in my opinion. I don't know why we would have resistance at a level that has no prior trading volume. The only thing that I could share with you is if we were to open up the order books across as many exchanges as possible, it could be like a Bitcoin situation where there's just a sell wall at the prior all-time high. And there could also be, I called them geniuses earlier, but like the geniuses that want to short the prior all-time high on leverage, and then they build up a sell wall there, which I don't know who taught that trading technique, but yeah, like you could definitely see some resistance around prior all-time highs if either of those conditions are met. But as for the technical play, I don't see how it would struggle too much at the $3.30 range if it's already been holding sideways for over 6 going on 7 years, and we barely have any daily closes at these levels. You understand? So I don't see why there would be much resistance there. So I hope that answers that question, and perhaps a couple other questions that people might have had about similar chart setups, because we're seeing almost identical thing going down with Stellar Lumens. So anyways, guys, I do have, as I said a little bit earlier, this final couple days of the Black Friday sale. It's been extended throughout the weekend into this Monday. So for probably the next 24 hours, if you missed out on the sale and you wanted to invest in either of these projects, now is the time, because this is my biggest sale of the year. So everything that we taught today that we were discussing is a lot more thoroughly explained inside of my exit strategy blueprint and in my crypto decoding blueprint. So if you just wanted those two, the Black Friday discount that'll be in the description box below, that's applicable as many times as you'd like. You could apply that promo code. So if you wanted to just get these two, it'll give you a discount. You'll have to check out twice. Or if you wanted any of the package deals, they have their own promo codes written right below the title. This one is effectively all of my work, my mastermind package. And the pricing is set up in a way that if you were to get this, it would be like a buy two, get one free, because it would be the cost of these and then more than the entire cost of the crypto mastermind. So this has been a new idea that I had for a couple months ago, and a lot of amazing feedback for it, because it covers all the bases of everything from my expansion mastermind to the new decoding mastermind. And I do have a new installment coming soon for the decoding mastermind. It'll be the Trinity Masterclass. I just have not had the time to finish it. This bull run has been way more important, but the crypto decoding blueprint, which I've talked a lot about today, and is very relevant to what we're experiencing right now in the crypto market, that is actually included in this. So these two together, they have the exit strategy blueprint, and this one has the crypto decoding blueprint. So appreciate all of y'all. It's been a wild 3-hour stream. We made it all the way to the end. 700 of y'all. I really love and appreciate you. This will be available for playback. So if you have any questions or anything, it will be something you could just review, take notes. Yeah, I don't know what to say. We watched XRP break out while we were filming. So pretty rad to spend this day and spend this time with you all here and do this. Probably going to give it about a month or so to do another one. But next week, as I said, make sure you comment below the next post that I put out. It will have the replay of this. And you could vote for the altcoins we'll be looking at next week. None of these altcoins that we're doing today, please do not vote on any of the projects that we've covered today. Oh, also, elevated mindset. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're on the same page, brother. I will definitely chat more about this idea for sure, because that's a crazy thing to entertain. Yes, I agree. We're on the same page, brother. All right. Love you guys. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your Sunday in the Matrix. I'm going to take tomorrow off. It's been a tough week for me. I really love you guys. I think Tuesday I'll have an update, a post for you all. Again, we have our Discord community chat away, and I'll be catching you all very soon. Much love.